Okay, now so we're having a lot of technical difficulties here. I think that Allan already posted in the chat that we've all of our files were deleted, so we've had to basically remake the entire show from the ground up in the last 45 minutes or so. But we do have a hype train going, so we'll get to the details of that later and what's affected that later. We'll talk more about our guest here, Joe Rumrill. But the hype train is going, which means that Robbie... What's up, Allan?
I can't tell. There's a technical difficulty for right off the bat. I can't tell if there is a hype train going because there's all these other graphics on my screen. So stand up in the chat if there's a hype train going and just say what percentage it's at and how many minutes we have.
I'm pretty
Back
sure.
to you, Robbie.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, keep us posted how close we are to the end of the hype train, because we do have... And Joe, this is good for you. This is a good introduction to the show, because this is when we get to talk about a lot of how we, the show. This is ultimately a show about morality. It's a show about communion and fellowship, and so it's important to always go back to the origins of how human beings in the past.
There's a hype train going. We're already at hype train level 2. Robbie, there's a hype train going. We're already at hype train level 2.
So this is a story. Allan, you probably
4 minutes, 22%. Back to you, Robbie.
This
is how the show. This is just normally how it goes. This is how it goes. It is happening now. Back to you, Robbie.
Back to you, Allan, and back to you, Joe. Back to you, chat. And the hype train is going, so we do got the story going. And Allan, this is a story that I think that you've probably heard before, because I think that I think most of us are. You heard, but the Joe, but the Grim Reaper.
The Death Man.
The Death Man.
Yes.
The Skull Man.
I hope to never not know him too well.
We don't hope that he comes in right now.
I hope he's not your next guest.
This isn't about the Grim Reaper necessarily.
Okay.
But this is in fact about the Skull Man, and they call him the Skull. And that's kind of one of the a lot of times there's how like Ra and Zeus have a lot of the same sort of like powers, kind of like not the same company, but they're kind of they're part of they're sort of like different skins on the same body. Well, the Skull Man is sort of like that for the Grim Reaper, except that the Skull Man didn't have anything to do with death necessarily, despite the fact that he was a skull.
But he looks like the Grim Reaper.
He doesn't look like the Grim Reaper.
Oh.
It's just a skull, and
no
and on the back of the skull is he's a man. He's a skull.
We're at 90%. We're at 92%.
He's a skull with a face. He's a skull with regular eyes and the voice of a man.
Robbie.
And then in the back of the head is a little house.
Robbie,
yes,
is the skull on the ground? Hold on, we just hit that level 3 hype train. The level 3 hype train is just happening. The story is continuing.
So this isn't even about the Skull Man. It's about the two people that lived in the house on the back of the head. And when I say it's a house, I'm not saying it's like a house, like an A-frame house in the back of the skull.
No,
it's
a community.
No, it's just like a weird little. It's kind of like an efficiency, but like a kind of like just one door, one window, and a kind of weird rounded enclosure on the back of this giant skull that just floats around. I want to say, Allan, it was probably around the 9th and 10th
of what
century.
Oh,
dates
AD.
are important.
And dates are important because a lot of times the things that happen in these stories get a little wild, a little crazy.
And it's good to have all your ducks in a row.
And it's important that you get a context for when the story took place, so that when a lot of these dicier details do pop up in the story.
But now I know why the house is so primitive that you
it's not. Because... Well, everybody else lived in normal houses. Everyone lived in regular A-frame houses in the 9th and 10th centuries. I mean, they were made of obviously different things: mud, woods.
Shavings.
Yeah, kind of like oiled paper that goes in the
parchment
for windows.
Back then.
Parchment,
not even paper yet.
Most people
parchments
didn't read or
scrolls.
Didn't read scrolls because that was back when scrolls were only
just
the only people who really
royalty.
Read scrolls were clerical class.
And then even then it was being read to them.
Precisely. So those things could have said anything. But most importantly, the two people that lived inside of the skull, the house inside of the Skull Man. And the Skull Man was their friend. He was their companion for many years.
He's a jovial sort.
He was a jovial sort. I mean, he wasn't. I wouldn't say that he was kind of clownish, but he was. He had a good sense of humor, and they just would float. They floated around.
3-minute warning. 3-minute warning. We're at 52%. You have 3 minutes to finish the story.
Thank you.
I think I like the sound of this Skull Man.
So the Skull Man was nice, and the two people that lived inside of the Skull Man's in the Skull Man's apartment there. That they were these two women and who had very different lives from I think what the kind of lives that we imagine now as being regular adult lives that involve
What are their relationships to each other?
Well, they were constantly being ferried around Europe in the 9th and 10th centuries to go to towns and put on these passion plays.
Okay. And is that define passion play?
Well, passion plays would normally, when we think about the passion plays, we would be thinking about the Christ and the story of the passion and the final hours.
All right. I'm realizing I had a gutter
Messiah,
moment.
As we knew him on earth, as he was tried, as he was jailed, and then tried, punished, and then ultimately dismembered,
executed
on Golgotha. But these were passion plays of a different sort because these were two women. Their main passion.
Go on.
Oh, I know. I mean.
Robbie!
Oh wow! Okay,
yay,
you
hype
did
train! Yay! We're on a level 4 hype train.
That's something that snapped
so cool.
in you.
That's so cool, Robbie. The story will continue. It's just getting sort of this. I think it's getting into that sort of sexual part of the story that he always gets to.
Well,
that's what I was thinking with passion play.
I don't.
I was worried.
Look, we don't consider these things in the same way that we don't think of human birth as a particularly sexual act. I do know that there are some people that will attempt. And we've heard about this. We've read about this.
I haven't read about this. Don't lump me in with you
characters that will attempt to orgasm in birth.
Yes.
In the birthing.
Oh, okay. Have you ever heard of that joke? Orgasmic birth?
And so, but that obviously these were two women.
I thought it was supposed to hurt.
They were biological women. They were cis women, and they also loved. They were also doing these passion plays, and these passion plays. Every time they would go to a town, they would set up shop, and then they would leave town, and the town would practically be like pulled into the earth. People would just go absolutely bananas for these theater productions that they would put on.
Yeah. And were they good?
Well, we don't know because what would happen was they would go into. This is what you would see. This is how the story goes: is that they would show up to a town in their giant floating skull, and they would get out, and then they would go into the town theater. And they would start the play, and the doors of the town's theater would shut, and then like you would hear all these just various sounds of slipping and just kind of like a gurgling, just loud gurgling noises and various guttural, throaty exclamations. But
there was an audience, so audiences did see this.
And so the audience would see this, but we weren't allowed to see it. We weren't allowed to see it because.
Robbie, can you demo those sounds?
And they were kind of like God, and like holy moly, and that kind of thing.
This is passionate.
And sometimes it would be just like birds like crush, and that would and
these are people, aptly named plays.
And then a few hours later, the skull would float back to the doors, and the doors of the theater would open, and the two women would walk out and just be like, I thought we had learned what I had thought we had learned from the last time this had happened, but now we got to get out of this town because everybody that hasn't died inside is going to come after us and just dismember us and
Robbie,
tear us apart if we don't get the
Robbie,
hell out of here.
Robbie,
Yeah.
did you say that the skull apartment picked them up from the door of the theater?
Well, he also said it floats now. It floats now. It has. I didn't
door-to-door.
floating. I thought it was attached to it.
That's one of the connections to the Grim Reaper because the Grim Reaper floats.
I see.
Okay.
So does the power of the Grim Reaper. Door-to-door service. This story could be called the Skullman's apartment.
And what I'm trying to say
is that
there was a mystery here of what the hell was going on in these passion plays that was driving everybody so wild that like they were dying inside they were dying in the performance, and the people that weren't dying were coming after with daggers in their hearts to come and kill these two and they were rather just, I would say, normal looking people. They weren't particularly unassuming. Like you wouldn't perceive them if you were.
You wouldn't peg them as performers, maybe even.
You would maybe peg them as performers because they were theatrical and they would always like speak in these kind of dramatic exaltations. But apart from that, they weren't selling anything. You know what I'm saying? They're not like
1 minute warning. You're at 64%. I don't think you're going to do it, Robbie. You might want to wrap up the story.
So what happened was there was a man who had been following them around for a long time. And this man
groupie.
was, I think we can possibly say, was the most desperate man in Europe at the time. And when I say desperate, I mean he was desperate. And he had been following these. He'd been following these poor kids.
Robbie,
years and years,
Robbie,
Robbie,
you did it. You got to the level. You got 100% of the hype train. You did it again. The story is going to continue for 4 or 5 minutes. I think we're now at level 5 hype train. Use all the hype train emojis in the chat to more hype. Follow with your Prime sub and tell your friends to follow and work really hard and earn a lot of money so you can give the money to Robbie. Back to you, Robbie.
You haven't touched that water bottle once.
Oh, we're already at 70. Robbie, we're already 80, 90%, 92%, 93%. We're choosing the numbers.
So the skull. Here's the timeline of events. The skull would show up to a town. The 2 women would come out. They would go into the theater. The whole town would basically be wiped off the map. The 2 women would get back in and be like, "We did it again. I don't understand exactly what it is we did." And
they don't even
They don't even know what they did, because they would pass into a kind of astral, kind of like not an astral thing, but they would be in like a dreamlike state.
Hence
and
then
then this feller, this guy would be so desperate running after them, and he'd get to the town just as the 2 women had left.
Oh man!
And he would see the damage, and he would find the survivors, and he'd pull them out of these because they would just collapse. Everyone would just collapse. They were so tired because of what they had seen apparently had made the. I mean, here's the thing, Joe, and I don't mean to be rude, I don't mean to be crude about it, but everybody was so. When these women would do their little productions, everyone would get so damn horny that they would just it was killing people.
I thought you were going to say maybe they were laughing so hard or something like that.
No, I mean,
around level 5 of hype, the stories get really
this is what I'm saying.
Sexy, steamy stuff. And people get really juiced while watching.
You'll notice it. Yeah, the percentage went to 100 because you said horny.
When you said horny, you got to 100%.
The word horny.
Robbie, when you said horny, you got right to 100%. We're on level 6 of the hype train. The story is going to continue for 4 or 5 more minutes.
So Devin, that was the guy's name. Devin would come to the town and
his name was Devin.
Desperate Devin. He's the most desperate man in Europe, and everybody knew it. Desperate Devin. Look him up. He's on Wikipedia. You probably.
I've heard of that actually.
If you haven't seen a Wikipedia page for it, then it's like Rule 43 with a Wikipedia.
What do you mean? Like it's on?
Was it Rule 43?
One of them is about.
One of them is about Wikipedia, and that's the one that you should be following. Is the Wikipedia one? Desperate Devin was the horniest man in Europe, and he couldn't get, and he was trying to see this crazy play that everybody was going to see. Everybody was seeing accidentally, including the people that were performing in it. Then it was turning people on so much that it was causing societal collapse.
But that is like the top thing that a horny guy could see is the horniest thing in the world, that you die, something so horny that you die. It's the top thing.
But you don't want. But this was doing something more, because people were like in the Ring movies, you see like when the hair woman comes out of the television, and it's just like he's doing it.
What's he doing?
That's what he would.
Don't look at it.
They would go absolutely.
You shouldn't look at it if he's doing it.
People to shreds. Not talking about the porn one. We're talking about the Wikipedia rule, not the porn rule. This isn't a pornographic show. This isn't a pornographic story. This is about Desperate Devin, the horniest man in 9th and 10th century Europe. And he would just run after the skull.
Does he ever get a release?
Is
he just horny, or does he get a release?
He was so pent up, Joe. You have to see it with your eye. You have to close your eyes. You see this incredibly taut, ripped, just bear of a man.
Oh, that's not what I was picturing.
Running through the tube, not the tubes. What do we call it? What when they're not streets, they're not
sewers.
Tunnels.
No. Just with trees on the other side.
A grove.
Like a glen.
No, like just like a
bramble.
That's been cleared, so it's a path. So
cobblestone street.
It's path. I got it.
Of 9th and 10th century Europe, where all the wagons and the marching armies would go through, and except every once in a while, you'd just be walking on your way to do a crusade, on your way to Jerusalem to liberate Jerusalem.
That's the best part of a crusade, just the walk over.
9th and 10th century was it the Persians at that time, or was it the?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter. Point is that every once in a while you'd be on your way to some crazy epic war where you would certainly not be coming back in an earthly state, and you'd see they'd see Desperate Dan's coming down the road.
Devin,
He must be
Devin,
fun.
Devin,
So
Devin.
I'd go on the other side of the Glen if Desperate Dan was.
Hey,
must have
2
just-
minute warning. 2 minute warning. We're only at 15%. It's not looking good for level 6. So finish the story up. Back to you, Robbie. Finish the story. Or make it sexier.
So they would see Desperate Dan, and they'd say, well, we must have just missed, and we must have missed the horny skull women, because
That's what they call them.
That's why you subscribe to bands in town.
What?
Go ahead. Sorry, I don't mean to derail it.
So they would say, well, I guess that's better luck for us. And luckily we get to die for the glory of the kingdoms and the church and the Pope, where he was back then. They weren't in Rome, were they, Alan? No, they were in what was it?
Let's
Lyon?
say it at the same time.
Avignon.
Avignon, yeah.
Avignon. That sounds about right.
That's right.
So the Pope was there. He was going nuts because he knew that there was this floating skull with these two, just unassuming yet, but somehow undeniably destructively sexual women.
Does the Pope want to see him?
Everybody wants to see them,
Pope
but
wants
nobody
to see 'em.
Nobody wants to see them.
Oh, nobody
You wanna-
wants to
you
see
wanna
him.
say?
Pope doesn't want to see him.
They're watching. They're probably watching like this because they want it. But they know it's bad. For
I
them.
know. I can't not. Oh.
1
So
minute
one
warning.
day-
You're only
so
at 18%. You're not going to do it. Back to you, Robbie.
Back to you, Alan. We're probably not gonna make it to the end of this thing, but I want to say that what happened was that Desperate Dan was running so damn fast that he actually got to a town right as the last person in the town was dying from being so horny.
Yeah.
So he grabs the feller, and he says to him, "I'm Desperate Dan," and the horny guy is like, "I know who you are.
30 seconds. The number just shot up. We're at 91%.
I know who you are. I know who you are. I'm horny too."
Thank you, Vertical Mammal.
And Desperate Dan says, like, "You'll never be as horny as me."
Oh, now it's a competition.
And he said, "What is it? What is the show? What is the show about?"
You did it. Yay. Thank you, Vertical Mammal. Thank you so much for giving Robbie actual legal tender. That is incredible work. We're now at level 7, I believe. The story will continue for 5 or 4 more minutes. Use all your crazy hype train emojis and keep giving Robbie bits and bytes. Back to you, Robbie.
Back to you, Alan, and back to you, Joe. So what happened? So Desperate Dan to this guy who's dying again. He's dying because he's seen the thing that is making everybody so horny that it's killing them. I mean, it's like the plague, but it's just these two women floating around in the skull with like their little efficiency apartment on a skull.
The bubonic plague, but bubonic is spelled B-O-O-B.
It's interesting to me, Joe, because you think about these like this tiny little house that they've got, and you wonder about these two women. You know, everybody's living in such close proximity in the Middle Ages that a lot of diseases are passed so easily. That's why you had these large swaths of population just be wipe off the face of the earth just by simple, flu-like disease. So you wonder what is the Passion Play linked to the lack of disease in these women's lives?
Is this like a VD? Is this like an allegory for VD?
So the dying guy says to Desperate Devin, he's like, well, desperate. So he's like, I'm so desperate to know. Just give me a taste of what you've seen. He says, well, so these two women, and they look like they just these two normal working ladies,
average lasses,
just totally not I would say just a fully anybody would pass them on the street now and not think that they were up to this kind of business. But here's what they do. They go up on stage, and then the lights go out because they turn the lights off in the theater, and then they turn them back on, and then they're just slapping each other.
That's it.
Just whacking each other all over from head to toe.
But in the dark.
No, but it's just wild stuff.
You hear all the slapping
they
sounds?
start out pale. They start about as pale as a blank sheet of paper, and they end up just pink and sweaty. And they just keep going. They keep whacking each other. They keep slapping each other.
The hype train goes, the sexier
the sweat starts flying into the audience. The sweat.
Oh.
They slap each other so much that the sweat flies into the audience.
So there's a splash zone.
They keep slapping, and then the sweat turns to blood, Joe.
What?
Whoa!
Magically,
they're
or
bleeding. They're bleeding each other with these terrible slaps. People are upset about this in the chat. I'm upset about it too.
Yeah,
and so was
I
mean the Pope in Avignon was upset about it.
All the way over in Avignon.
I like it.
and then what happens is that it goes back to something. The blood turns clear again, and then the lights go out once again.
The blood turns clear again.
Exactly.
Now it's like magic.
And then the lights go out again, and then the lights come back on, and there's not
World's
two.
worst
And there's
magic
not two
trick.
women there. No.
What's their?
There's not two
Where
women
did they
there
go?
anymore.
What's
Because
their?
they're bound now from their.
What is
their
it?
Performance.
There's just it's just like a big ball of hands just going like that, like hands just like tugging at like invisible thing, like, and then it's just like, what are these hands like tugging at? What are these things
What
gripping?
happened? I don't
All the
Their
women's
hands?
bodies have basically just been like tossed together like a big
Intertwined.
spaghetti ball, and they're just like with like hands like grabbing out, and they're just like, what are these
Robbie, have you
hands
ever
grabbing?
played the game Inside?
And it's like, and then everybody's just like, everyone's just like freaking out because they're all getting so. By this point, they have not been horny before.
Okay,
This
I was
is when
wondering about
when
the
they start
status
to
of
get
the
horny.
audience horniness levels.
Oh wow.
And
One
then they
minute
start
warning,
to
you're only at 14%.
once
They don't. The audience is not aroused by this. They're not giving enough money.
Yeah.
they start once they
I bet it was the blood mass.
once they
that turned
start
them off.
so it's bloody, it's sweaty, it's like
Is it pulsating at all?
It's like oily. It's just unbelievable. It's a nasty piece of business.
And he's
business,
throbbing.
and it's just like it's not like floating actually. It's just kind of like sitting on the ground and
right.
like
Like
weird,
a lump.
kind of like a weird lump. Like if you
30
got,
seconds.
if you
30
got-
seconds.
if
It's not
you've
gonna happen.
It's not
Get
gonna
to the moral.
happen.
Get to the moral.
And
Get to the moral. That's me. That's
so
me
once,
in an
but once
Aesop show.
everybody sees this crazy like mass, that's when
Yeah.
they get horny, and that's when their eyes like open up for the first time, and they see the invisible world. They see all of these creatures that are just unbelievably just in their nature just unbelievably beautiful and impossible to describe, and they're just floating in the air, and they're floating through people, and they're
That's
like
it.
rubbing people all
That's
over.
it. And the story is over. The hype train was successful. We got to level 6 or 7. What level were we
7,
at?
I thought.
Level 7.
We got to level 7. Thank you so much. That was an incredible story.
Oof.
And I just want to point out what is happening to EGI2 for first-time viewers of the show. This is what is known in the industry as audience capture. Robbie has been captured by the audience. He used to really get mad at me whenever I would talk about sexuality or sexy things, but the audience
Rightfully
loved it.
so.
And the more we talked about sexual things, the more money they gave us. And it's something about that has infected Robbie's brain, and now his stories have become incredibly erotic, incredibly sexual. He's been essentially captured by the audience. So he works for you. He is your employee, and you do own Robbie, and I'm happy about that because I like these kind of stories that I do get off on them. Back to you, Robbie.
Back to you, Allan, and I want to just say we obviously don't get to continue the story with much detail anymore, but I do want to say that at it's sort of like it's sort of like a 3-act structure that these plays would go through, but with the introduction being where the women turn into this weird fleshy mass.
That's just
of
the first
like
third.
spaghetti bodies and hands. And then the second act is where you start to see these invisible creatures that start, rubbing all over you
Don't
and
spoil
caressing
it.
you.
Don't just tell the story.
And then
They
third
didn't
act's
pay
just
for it. Don't
it's
give it
crowd
away.
work.
And then we don't get to know what the third act is because apparently what happens is that something happens in that third act, and people die.
Yeah.
So if you like these kind of stories, you should work harder at your jobs and earn more money. Save the money up all week into nuggets, and then give the money to Twitch. Twitch gets the lion's share of that money, but Robbie will get some of it, and you'll hear more of this kind of interesting story. Back to you.
And
Robbie.
we would see but the moral of the story follows, of course, Desperate Devin.
Desperate Devin.
Desperate Devin. I almost
who
forgot
is-
about him. Can you believe that?
He's still out there, and we don't know that, but in this story, he is still out there. He's trying to figure out what is it that people are seeing that's making them so horny.
Yeah. I'm wondering now if anyone is to do a 23andMe or something. Maybe they're related to
Desperate Devin.
Desperate
I mean, we could
Devin.
all.
I don't know.
That's a great.
His blood could be pulsing through any one of us.
I mean, what is it? It's like 1/4 of the people on Earth now can trace their roots
Probably
back to Genghis
related.
Khan or something like that. It's unbelievable.
And do you know Desperate Devin and Genghis Khan were in cahoots?
Well, when was the Khanate really swinging? That was probably
I think after Con 7. Come on, you can't say.
So if you're just joining us, we are. This is EGI2. We've lost most of the show elements because Luke randomly deleted all of the the folder with all of the video clips and sound
pointed.
effects that we've been building up. So we didn't have time to set all that up. So this is going to be kind of we're going to be shooting a lot from the hip, and we're going to be working as hard as we can to bring you the video game news, reviews, and conversation that this show deigns to provide as a show that deigns to provide that. And with us tonight is a special guest, a very special guest. His name is Joe Rumrill. He's a funny man. He's a comedian. He's also, I would think we could say, an artist. And also, everybody that talked to about you, Joe, they say he's a gatherer of people. You ever heard that before? You ever been referred to as that, as a gatherer of people?
You mean no, I've not heard that, but I like it.
You're sought after. People are looking at you.
People wish me well.
People wish you well. They're seeking. Yeah. I've never been known to be sought.
Oh, what are you talking about?
I've never.
I seek you.
People don't seek me out.
Do you want to grab that?
Robbie, look, the whole audience is seeking you out.
I'm saying, like in the way that people seek out Joe. I'll tell you a quick story, Joe. This is a true story.
81 people are seeking you out right now.
One of the few times I believe I have been truly sought was in college. After a night at the bar, I went back to a girl's apartment. And she
Here we go again with the horny stories.
And she read me excerpts from Henry Miller's Tropic of Cancer, and I says to myself, that's a red flag, and I got the hell out of there.
Yeah.
And that's the closest I've ever come to being sought.
But that's just because you hate literature.
Well, I do.
And you like stuff on the screen.
I enjoy a good. I try to read books. I consider myself to be moderately bookish. Allan, what are you thinking?
We have a poll going right now. They're asking the audience, who are they seeking? Robbie is at 71%. Allan is at 14%, and Joe is at 14%. So Robbie, you are seeked. People seek you.
Yeah, you're sought. You're sought as hell.
So Joe,
Thank you.
funny.
Joe just is moving up in the poll.
How do you come up with jokes?
Now I'm getting some love. Thanks,
do you have a joke ready for us? You could tell us to kind of get us going.
Oh, all right. Boy, I tell you, if G stands for glow-in-the-dark lizard stickers on it, then hell yeah, my phone has 5G. That's a joke for you. Tell me I'm sought after that.
Let me check the poll. I don't.
Right. Check the poll on that one.
Joe's gone down to 11%.
Think about that's
I've gone down. All right.
I've moved up to 28%.
People about Henry Miller.
The poll ended. Robbie won.
Henry Miller. Someone said Henry Miller's Animal Crossing. Did I see that?
Oh, people.
That would be an odd.
Thank goodness they liked the joke. That really died in the room.
I got a joke for you. It's kind of like an audience. It's kind of like a back and forth audience participation kind of a thing. So it's you go up to the audience member and you get up real close and you say, "Little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet eating her curds and then you give the audience the microphone and then what does the audience say?
I hope they say way.
Yeah, they say way and then you just say that's way cool.
I have a joke.
That's good.
Let's hear it, Allan.
Okay.
I mean, this is a funny show. This is a comedy show. People forget about this being a comedy show. They think it's just about video game news, reviews, and conversation. But we do try to have some levity.
This is true. So my joke goes like it's a blue joke. It's sort of like a raunchy joke you'd tell at night in a nightclub. You kind of go
After
up there.
hours.
I don't have a mic. You imagine me with a mic. I say, hey. No, you keep that.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I go, hey,
I'm so giving.
Hey. I go, hey. I used to call my penis my Virgin Mobile. But hold on, wait for the punchline. But then something happened and I got a BlackBerry. And let me see if the sound effects work.
So
on
let's
this.
No,
okay, the sound effects don't work
because
Luke
don't
deleted
work.
all of our files.
We don't. That's not the kind of humor that we try to do on the show. We do try to be. This is a family-friendly show.
No, it's
we
not.
do, even though we do tell
it is not
these.
family-friendly.
I think we don't try to censor these old stories that we tell from the past because I do think it's important that we know our history, recognize where we fall short.
To erase it would pretend like it never happened.
Yeah, exactly.
The
so
sound
we build
effect,
and we grow.
The sound effect that I would have hit goes like this. And then there's another one like
the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Yes, exactly.
It's called It's called cute hee hee.
Yeah.
I don't know.
GTT.wave or
yeah, it's
.aif?
a WAV file.
What's
it's
the?
It's a WAV file.
Okay.
And then I have Big Mail Celebration. That's kind of like. But I can't play them because Luke. I think Luke was mad at the way the show went.
Yeah.
He was a guest. We share a computer with Luke, and he deleted all of the show files.
So this could
Producer
be.
James had to build them as fast as he could, and so there's going to be some problems.
Corporate sabotage, Michael Crichton, that kind of a thing.
Would you guys see Luke as a rival or as a friend, cohort?
I see Luke as one sees a thief in the night, where you.
And the night, as we know, is when bad stuff like dirty jokes happen.
Dirty jokes happen.
And thievery.
Various, that's when the oil on the back comes out. And
because you can't see it.
You can't see it.
You can't see it.
You're wearing too many covers, and the oil comes out, and then you wake up and you've got pimples all over your back.
Ooh.
And that's the kind of dirty scoundrel I think of Luke, the man Taylor.
But I will say, I personally, outside of the show, separate from the show, I am a investor in Luke's show, the Luke Man on Twitch.
Yeah.
I have a sponsorship deal where he sells these hats on my website. If you use product code Luke, the Luke Man, I think, on my website, you get $1 off, and Luke will get I give Luke $1.
And
I think you should mysteriously delete all those hats.
Currently, I will say that I believe that we have I would encourage people to also sub to Luke's channel, because if we have enough of our people sub to Luke's channel, it's like shares in the company, and then we own Luke's company, and we can shut it down, and liquidate the whole business. And that's how we can make some more money.
Devious.
That's the kind of
world we live in.
Nasty
these days,
capitalist world that we live in. But you either thrive or you die.
Yeah.
In that world,
you're either a big blob of horny blood on the stage, or you're the audience member that perishes.
Absolutely.
Because you watched it and found it so erotic.
And do you consider are you a sexual being? Are you kind of just normal, dried out kind of person like the rest
like
of
a
us?
husk?
I wouldn't say I'm more like a husk, but I'm more like an old board. Like an old board, you might
when it comes to sexuality, or just in general.
Just in general, you see an old board on a pier or something like that, with just like a couple of cinder blocks holding it up, and you sit on that, and that's. Great art can come from perfectly
from
comfortable.
That.
Plenty of things, plenty of scenery out there in the ocean, or maybe it's boards on a mountain. You can look out on the valley.
You can put a board anywhere.
You can put a board. That's what's great about that good old dry boards. And if we had our EGI2 sponsorship buttons, that could be a new potential EGI2 sponsor.
Old dry boards.
No one will sponsor the show. We don't have any real sponsors.
We don't have any real sponsors. We do have we have a number of fake sponsors that we have been using as kind of examples of how to get sponsorship, or what if a potential advertiser were to watch the show, they would see that we could. Sponsorships with like mini PCs, like little tiny gaming PCs.
Like that you can hide in class.
You
like
can hide in class.
Well,
you could not. Well, you still have to. Well, you couldn't really hide it.
They're
could
not
you,
that
Allan?
small.
Because they're desktops. You still need a full
You could hide them in a
monitor.
backpack. If you had a big backpack, you could hide it in there and maybe sneak off and play it.
But you'd have to take it out of the backpack.
Yeah, and then you'd have to hook up to a monitor, and then hook up you'd probably need the monitor on, because you need to. Even if you don't have if you have like a wireless mouse and keyboard, you still need to sync everything up.
And
unless you get some of those RF ones, Allan.
What does that mean? RF?
Just the ones that come with a little RF dongle. So you just plug those directly into the tower, or I guess into the unit there. Yeah, and then it just connects automatically. You don't have to do any
Bluetooth
to
what?
To the PC.
Connects to what?
PC.
To the mini one. To the mini.
But you still need, of course, to see anything on the computer. You need the monitor.
Right. Can't be too small.
Not the best. Yeah. That's not the best.
Plus, if it's too small, you could swallow it. It'd be a choking hazard.
It's terrible
for small kids.
Terrible that what kids will get up to these days.
Terrible. What's the dream sponsor?
Dream sponsor?
Dream sponsor.
Copper wires.
Copper wires would be great, because you can sell copper wires for a lot of money. The PCs are good because we do like a little unboxing, and then we test out and see what games going on. Frame Gride would be excellent, because that's an old Dreamcast game that nobody knew about, that the people that make the Dark Souls game, I'm sure you've at least heard of those.
Yes, I've heard those.
So you heard about Dark Souls. They used to make Frame Gride.
Those are good ones. Those are great. And I bet you they could be watching. They could be in the chat right now.
So let's go. Let's open up the phone calls and see what people are saying about. What have we talked about?
You told a story. You told an incredibly sexual story. Oh.
Caller, you're on the air with EGI2. Stream 13 with Joe Rumrill,
Hello.
special correspondent Allan Resnick. What's your news?
Hi, Joe. Thank you for your present.
I'm sorry, you cut out.
Say that one more time. We lost you for a
But
second
hello
there.
to you
We're
as well.
Still adjusting the volumes.
Hi, Joe. Thank you for being here, dude.
Of course. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. And I
Where
mean
would,
that.
where would you wouldn't want to be anywhere else?
I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. You could hit me with any location right now, and I'd say I'd actually like to get closer with Robbie and Allan. I feel like that's a budding friendship, and I'd love to talk with them for 3+ hours rather than I would say a Hawaiian cruise or something.
Caller?
Oh, how about this for a location? I'm Cody from Florida.
Cody from Florida.
Cody
He's
from
from
Florida.
he's from one of the Cape Coral Boys. Just an unbelievably nasty state that is, with all the just various
gators.
varmints and alligators, and
I
they've
love
got the
them.
boa constrictors problem, and
It's a
various
rat
invasive
bastard of a
species.
state. Lee County is a rat bastard of a county.
Damn.
Unbelievable. And just it's basically just harsh wilderness, buffeted by just
Disney
ugly
World.
subdivisions, strip malls, and roads that are too wide. The Tamiami Trail.
Do you know how the worst part of any game is the swamp level? That's me.
That's where I thrive.
Now, I always
love
think that
that
the worst
swamp
worst
level.
part of the game for me is never the swamp level.
Swimming underwater.
Sometimes it's the sewer level.
think
That's true.
If you're
But
playing
sometimes-
Booger Man.
But sometimes Booger Man
Yeah.
on the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo.
I think I think
All
I
right.
remember that one. But
Fair-
those
fair
are all
enough.
sewer levels, though,
Alan, what do
probably.
you think about that?
I thought Joe didn't know anything about games.
Well, apparently he knows
Just the
he knew
funny
about Booger
parts.
Man, which is from Interplay and.
Booger Man
Like
was
Clay
a
Fighter.
gimmick
Oh, I
platform.
know
It was
about
a
Clay
mascot platformer.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's an
It's a
action
mascot
platform. It's a
platformer.
party game.
I believe it's the only pick and flick adventure.
He eats boogers, he picks and flicks, he farts and burps.
Right.
I think that's kind of it.
Yeah,
He doesn't-
I
he
don't
doesn't
know that I
really-
ever played
he
it,
doesn't-
but I was aware of it
you
at
know,
Blockbuster.
He doesn't use his privates.
No, it's not an after-hours game.
There was Booger Man. There was Rocket Knight. There was the cat. There was the orange cat.
Earthworm Jim, Bubsy.
Bubsy, yeah, Bubsy.
Bubsy, yes, Bubsy.
I've been trying to get a Bubsy hard drive head joke passed for so long, and nobody seems to know about it in the Slack. Anyway,
yeah,
that's my own.
There we go. There we go, dude.
That's my own.
So Joe,
crusade.
Joe is a contributor to harddrive.net. If you're not familiar,
Only
with
a
that,
few. Usually unsuccessful in the
they
Slack
do
there.
gaming news and reviews, and they take the industry to task in the ways that only they can.
Absolutely.
Cody,
So what are we talking about? Are we talking about
news from
Bubsy?
Florida? What's happening? What's the weather like? What are you playing? Who are you with? Are you safe?
I've got Florida video game news.
All right, let's
Whoa.
hear it.
Okay, are we doing it in the regular format of Florida video game news?
Yeah,
Or,
I think so. Well, we have a lot of the buttons don't work, so we're just gonna sort of wing it.
Okay, so so how about the opening slide is like a character creation screen? Like it could be Cyberpunk 2020,
2077.
and yeah.
The one where you
And-
can start. You can do everything. You can,
Yeah,
you
so
can
the
kind of
character
touch up
selection
the
is
whole
like-
human body.
Oh yes.
Exactly.
Every last
So,
bit of it.
so it's like you can choose your genitals or you can choose your gender, and they give you like a bunch of options, like masculine or feminine or like a vagina or a penis.
Wow.
It's really
Keep it clean, Cody. Let's keep the temperature down.
No,
Don't
Okay,
encourage
okay.
this
So
behavior,
that's-
I'm
Joe.
not. I'm
Get
saying.
that. Wipe that smile off. your face.
I'm saying. Tell me you're from Florida
This
without
is-
saying you're from Florida.
This is the audience capture
Well,
thing we're
okay.
talking about. This is the
I'm
audience
just
we're talking
kidding.
about.
I'm
This
just
is- and they're
kidding.
capturing
got
I
us.
know
sick
I
of-
don't know
just
you.
because- But we do try.
Just joking.
In the same way that the same. I'll say this before. The same way that the Christ tried to reform the robbers and the thieves
Mhm.
and the criminals.
Mhm.
I believe that
Mhm.
this show will try to reform the scoundrels and the perverts and
the no good nicks.
Thanks. So we're doing
So
we're doing the work.
I have only the best intentions with my funny video game news.
All right, let's hear it, Cody.
Okay, so like the first slide of the funny video game news is just the character selection screen or the character creation screen where it lets you choose all these things, right?
Okay.
So that's the first slide. It's just the character creation screen.
Got it.
And then we move on to the next screen is floating head, a talking head of Ron DeSantis saying, well, the new law, the law, the Don't Say Gay law is now repealed. The law also doesn't apply to books with incidental references to LGBTQ plus characters or any same-sex couples, as they are not instruction on sexual orientation or gender identity in any more than a math problem. Asking students to add bushels of apples is instruction on apple farming, according to the settlement. So basically, the settlement clarifies what's allowed in Florida classrooms following the patches 2 years ago. The law so basically, the Don't Say Gay law, like they're dialing it back, and you can say gay. And so on the character creation screen, you can play it in Florida guilt-free.
But what's the game?
Press start to begin.
Cyberpunk. Now you can like play Cyberpunk and choose a penis, or you could do whatever you want.
Allan?
In Florida.
So you'd say. So I think it would be like Cyberpunk 2077 is in the news. Governor Ron DeSantis said it's okay to.
Oh, he said, "I'm not a fan of it, but now you can say gay now."
Oh, I think that is that. I think that's funny video game news.
It's got to be, for lack of anything better. It has
Robbie,
to
I think I think he got all the checkpoints there. It was.
Did he say? Does Ron DeSantis say Cyberpunk 2077?
Yeah, he did. He said, "Say it again."
Yeah, if he doesn't
without a
say, I don't think
visual.
he said it, so I don't think it counts as funny video game news, Cody. I'm sorry.
Dang, sorry, Cody.
No, Ron,
It was a long walk to get to a disappointment for you, but the fact of the matter is,
You know
that
what?
there has
I've
to
blown
be
it before, and I've blown it again, and I just love talking to you guys.
Well, it's great. It's great to hear from you. Stay safe. It's a terrible state to live in. Get the hell out of there as soon as you possibly can, and get yourself a nice get yourself a nice place with a lot of libraries.
Yeah.
And community centers.
I love you. Back to you, Robbie.
Back to you,
Allan.
Cody. Thank you for all of that.
Thank you, Cody.
So what the caller was attempting to do is do funny video game news.
Yes, I learned that right at the end of the call.
So the funny video
right
game
at the end of
news
that
are
7-minute call.
when a game is in the news, like say Frame Gride, the Dreamcast game that we talked about, which I didn't mention, is an arena action mech. It's sort of an arena. It's not quite like Virtual on Ontario Tangram, but it's similar. It's got card. It's got like a card system in it, and so you would say, Frame Gride is in the news, and then Michael Gove, the former education secretary from the UK, who is now, of course, the UK's minister for leveling up housing and communities. He looks at Frame Gride and he says Virtual on.
Gotcha.
Because he thinks that looks like Virtual on, and he gets it wrong. That's what's in the news.
And that's funny video game.
Because that's a
news.
gaffe.
Right. That's a joke we can all
Another-
have fun
Another good example, I believe there was some.
with.
Wait, do we have another caller right now?
Yes,
that?
yes, hello. It's me.
Wait, who's this?
AB from Texas.
AB from Texas,
Oh,
nice to hear from you again. We talked just yesterday evening.
Wow.
Yes, I think your ideas about the fires here were greatly exaggerated. I did some research. There was only like just a few brush fires. Nothing was wrong with the atmosphere. Everything is A-okay. Nothing like what we see in the news from the parts of from your state.
You were spreading false
I was
fire
not.
information.
When I read the papers last week or the week before, there was a giant fire in the northern.
Robbie's
you were
right
reading
about
the
it.
paper,
Robbie's
and the
always
paper
right.
caught a blaze.
Absolutely. We didn't.
That's how
I'm
you
not
know
saying.
there's a
I wasn't saying to AB that the Texas smoke from the fire was drifting, because the smoke generally
Because
doesn't.
they barbecue
it
so
drifts
much
back,
down there.
It drifts back east. That's why the California wildfire smoke was, it's getting as far as New York City.
AB, you're gonna have to make it really quick. We have another call on the line that is very important.
Pressing. It's Yoshi.
Well, I had a couple things to talk about. I'm playing Civilization 6 with my friend, my good friend from Houston.
Civ 6. It's a party game. Yes. It's a game for party animals. You love to see where the different cultures end up. Where so many histories were derailed by
big parties,
by civilizations, by the colonization and subterfuge and just devilry.
Yes, I was afraid to bring it up because you said that the effect that it had on your life. It's starting to affect me and my friend. We were up till 4 a.m. I was like, maybe we should stop playing. He's like, 1 more hour, it'll be all right. And sure enough, 1 more hour passed, and it was 5 a.m. and we had to call it. The time just flies real quick. And other news, I might be moving to your state. I think I'm going to start keeping bees.
You're going to start keeping bees?
You're going to collect bees?
Bees?
Yes, that's right. I'm going to keep them in little bee drawers.
Drawers of bees?
Yeah, you can put bees in drawers now.
Yeah, I'm going to learn about bees and beekeeping.
This is a post-hive world.
I'm going to pick blueberries.
Well, that's Amy, that's amazing.
Congratulations on the desk of bees.
And it makes me wonder if there's any of the teams that you can join in Civilization might have some bee farming that they do on their own.
I don't think there is, but that would be a great resource to have, bees.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can always use honey.
They could be a resource as well as maybe like an attack unit.
Yeah.
You could travel with bees.
You're making me hungry.
Congratulations on the bee.
Yeah,
on
but
the
wait.
bee.
I have one question. If you got a drawer full of bees, where are you putting your clothes?
Ooh, they'll be inside of my bee armor. I think there's gonna be armor for to protect against bees that you have to wear, and so it'll be just tucked inside of that.
Gotcha.
Make the armor out of bees. Why don't people do that more?
They do. I've seen people. They're covered in bees.
They're covered in bees. But I'm saying there's all these. You play these games. You watch these movies where people are just sticking their hands in like buckets, and then the bucket, whatever's in the bucket, like gets on their arm, and then it covers their whole body, and then they're just like.
Thank you for your call,
practically
AB. Thank
invincible.
you so much. We are going to have to let you go. We do love to hear about the Civ and the bees.
Thanks, AB.
Call back
again.
Thank you.
Good luck with the move. Good luck with the Civilization. Hopefully, I want to know, call back at another point, EB. I want to know which kind of if you get to the victory screen, which victory you get, if it's science or arts or even through politics.
And let us know what kind of bees you get. Maybe you get a wasp,
a hornet, maybe.
Will do.
Bumble.
Absolutely.
Thanks for your call, AB. We've got another call on the line right now. I understand.
Oh no!
It's not yet.
Oh, sorry.
We just were
hustling.
We were told in the chat that there was.
We told him to buzz off.
Holy Jesus! Did you just come up with that?
Hello?
See, this is why we get Joe up on the stream here, because he's obviously slouching in his chair.
I'm just shorter than you.
He's not activated, but
slouching.
But he's throwing out the funny. He's throwing out the funniest sides. He's giving us the funny.
Robbie,
oh Jesus! Okay.
There's someone on the phone.
All right. So, I didn't catch all of it, but I had the chat up, and it seems like I'm being a bit maligned on this program. So I thought it would be only fair for me to get a chance to come on.
Who is that?
That's myself.
Who is
Luke
this?
Taylor.
Luke Taylor.
Hey, Luke.
Luke the Man Taylor. Welcome to EGI2 for the first time.
How'd you get this number?
How did you get on? He's a party guy. He's unbelievably
rich,
destructive, and rich in his scoundrelry.
He's got the.
You tried to sabotage the show.
I'm trying to cut through the bullshit is what I'm trying to do, Allan, because I can listen to Robbie wax poetic about what I am and what I am not, but I'd like to hear the accusation from him right now.
The accusation, Luke, is as follows. You are obviously you saw the EGI2 folder. You knew that we were doing the 2007 Game of the Year Awards tonight. You knew that it was going to be a wild show. You knew that we were going to get down. We were going to have a bad old time. And when I say bad, I mean like the thriller.
I mean good.
Good.
Right.
The thriller
awesome.
that would be tearing a swath of enjoyment and entertainment through this town, through this filthy, sinful place that we all live.
It's going to rock the world.
We were going to be bringing the light back. We were going to be bringing the sun back to Los Angeles, to California, and that this filthy, just dirty, nasty burg would never be the same again. And saw that coming and you decided to throw like a sabo. You know, like the sabo, the Dutch sabos.
I only know about Sabo, the character from One Piece. But let me ask you this, Robbie. This is what I'd like you to do right now. I'd like you to tell Allan Resnick, where the documents, the show graphics were saved. That's what I'd like you to do.
They were on the desktop.
Right there in a folder.
I didn't do that.
Why is everybody being so quiet?
And I don't want to throw. Listen,
It's
I'm
tense.
not one.
It's a
I'm
tense moment.
not gonna pick apart words. I'm not gonna pick. But you know, and I hate to do this because I know EGI is its own thing, and I know all of these projects are their own thing, and we all work on these projects.
EGI 2.
Yeah, it's EGI 2. EGI doesn't exist.
Different from
Stream
EGI
13
But
featuring
I
Joe
remember
Rumrill.
Mr. Allan Resnick. If I remember, Mr. Allan Resnick has a few words to say about saving it to the desktop. Love, what do you say, Allan?
Why
He's
is he
doing
He's doing the British accent.
Why are you doing
now,
a
so
British
now-
accent? You're offending Joe Botnick in the chat.
You know other
think
accents are
about
on the
that.
way too. He's gonna get more and more offensive with it.
Hey, I'm Italian over here, Allan.
Okay, all right.
Now
Now
we're
we're
getting-
getting a
now
little
Hey, I did not put the files on the desktop. I maybe I used to inspire people with my advice to save things to the desktop, and our producer James maybe took those words a little too close to heart and saved our show files to the desktop of your computer, which we share. And you still deleted you don't have some sort of a backup of your computer, a time machine, and you made our producer James build the whole show from scratch in a couple minutes. And James, can you show the graphic for Funny Video Game News? Can you show that? I want to show everyone what we're working with. Look.
Disgusting.
Bold.
The old graphic-
honestly makes me sick to my
I'm
stomach.
waiting to see it.
The old graphic was beautiful, and it's gone.
See,
I'll never know what it looks like.
what's happening to Allan right now, Luke? It's unfortunately building to a character arc that we've been hinting at for a long time, which is that Allan has the abilities, not the abilities yet, but he's becoming slightly more. The cellular. We're breaking down his cells, and we're rebuilding Allan as a crime fighter, as a vigilante killer. He's going to be out.
Right.
He's at your house right now.
He's gonna be
Luke.
unstoppable.
And you don't want to get me mad.
Yeah, you don't want to get him
'cause
mad
when I
because
get mad, I get really nuts and weird to people.
he'll
and
kick
I hit
a
people.
hole in your roof. He'll
And
kick.
I do hurt people bad when they mess with me, so don't mess with me, Luke.
You ever see like a rap video where the guys pull up their guns and they shoot the guns at the other rappers?
Yes, I've seen that.
Well, that's what's going to happen
Look.
to you.
Look.
Because what you did was a crime to EGI 2 and a crime to the EGI 2 crime family.
The EGI Tuniverse.
Because I don't consider ourselves on the side of the law. No, that we're outside of the law, except for
But
Allan,
Allan
who's struggling with his own internal demons and devilry. No, we're
All right.
we're like one of those honor crime families, like one of the cool ones, like from like a Botticelli, was that his name?
I don't know what
I
you're
think
talking
that's
about.
that's a artist.
I
That's
need to say something very quick, and then I'll get off the line. You know, I came in here, and I'll admit my tensions were high. I think you all can understand as human beings on this earth that sometimes when you see people coming for you, you know, like a chimp in the woods, you get defensive. You know,
Absolutely,
you're
yeah.
taking the bugs out of my hair. Get away from me! And I was reactive.
And
Mhm.
sometimes
I was
you see a ship coming through the woods, and the first thing you think is, that ship must be going so damn fast and must have so much freaking power behind it that it's blasted through the lagoon, and it's blasted through the beach, and now it's in the forest, and it's coming at me.
It's going through all the
It's coming at you, and it's about to
coniferous
it's about to
forest,
blow your it's
tundra.
about to Alice in Wonderland blow your house down.
Well, I guess I can only say
I'm gonna huff and I'm gonna puff and I'm gonna kill you, son.
You messed with the wolf, you're gonna get his
Mess with
breath.
the wolf, you get the fur.
He sees we're in your house right now and it's made of straw. We're gonna
You
blow
mess with
it
the
down.
wolf. You mess with the wolf, you're gonna get the bow wow wow.
We scared him off. Like
All
a
right.
chimp in the woods.
Like a chimp in the woods. You know what? All I can say is this. I'm sorry.
Luke, we love you like a brother. There's nothing we would ever do to hurt you. We would never take your name in vain. We would never press you against the wall and put our hands on your chest until your ribs were hurting. We would never do that to you. You are like family, and we love you dearly.
I am mad as hell. I am mad as hell, but I just want to encourage everyone in the audience to go to my website and buy hats on my website with product code LukeMan and get $1 off the hat, and I'll give Luke $1, and I'll never take that sponsorship away no matter what you do, no matter how mad I am at you. I will still support your stream financially with the sponsorship deal, which is also mutually beneficial to me.
So
back to you, Luke.
So Joe, this is what we do. We do a whole. We're doing a number of character arcs through here. So everybody's got their motivations. Everybody's got their impediments, and we're all. It's like that's how you write. That's how you write it out, right?
Absolutely.
It's like you got your character, and once you've established what they want, then the story is what's in the way of what they want.
It all comes to you.
And it all
It's
comes
easy.
to you.
It makes
Absolutely.
it easy. I can't believe
well,
we
I'll
got an
let you guys
apology
go.
out of Luke. That's what I wanted.
Thank you for your call, Luke. Again, follow the Luke Man on twitch.tv/the Luke Man for his. He's always having interesting guests and interesting conversations, and he's just trying to just like we're all trying to just survive from one day to the next. Allan?
Robbie, I think we should delete Luke's all the files on his computer, even our own.
Not his roller coaster tycoon saved data. Even his roller coaster tycoon saved data.
Okay.
Wow, you got it.
All right. That's funny.
Okay, let's pull up that graphic.
Let's see the graphic. Does that work?
Now that.
And who said it was who said it was none other than former First Lady of this United States, Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama.
She didn't want to just delete the save file for the roller coaster tycoon.
Okay, great.
So thank you for that, and we are back. We're just back from a break.
I don't think we took a break.
We didn't take a break. And we've got
consider Luke's call a break.
We consider Luke's call, but we do have a wonderful award season is in the air. It's the award season starts with the Academy Awards, and a number of other award shows happen after that, and including this one, which is the EGI2's 2007 Game of the Year Awards.
Hooray!
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's 2007. So flash your eyes, flash your hearts.
Flash your eyes?
Wipe your eyes and flash
that
your
red
hearts
line?
back to the year 2007 to enjoy this EGI2 and the winners and the
Heart flashing.
winners are as follows. And that doesn't animate anymore. That's just a still image.
Okay.
Okay, I guess that's just a
What
still image.
does it usually do?
Usually there's
Usually
an
animates, it's
awards
quite
show
beautiful.
music and the particle effects.
Like the
there's
Kids' Choice
various
Award, like a
levels
slime
and things are moving.
thing.
Someone
It's
deleted
quite,
all of our files, so the show has a little bit less razzle-dazzle.
It's a little less razzle dazzle.
But it's more punk rock
But
that
the awards,
way,
but the
I
awards
think.
are set in stone. The 2007 EGI2's 2007 Game of the Year awards are as follows. First up, slide forward. Most Negative Space Award
Look at all that.
goes to Battle Stations Midway for the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC. You can see in that image right there, there is a great deal of negative space between the American battleship and the what looks like a Japanese cruiser. We can assume that it's the Japanese cruiser because, of course, this is Battle Stations Midway. Midway being midway between
Here and there.
the United States and the Imperial Japan on their war footing throughout the Pacific Ocean. Allan?
Congratulations to the whole team. A lot of negative space. I have a lozenge in my mouth. I am sick. I have a sore throat. I have COVID. Did I tell you that, Joe?
No.
Congratulations to the whole team. The negative space is
The negative space is.
I mean, that is so much
The
negative
negative
space.
space-
You couldn't put like a flock of
you
geese
couldn't
or something?
You couldn't put a cruiser there. You couldn't
dolphin
you couldn't
popping
put
out?
you couldn't put a
Echo
bunch
the
of
dolphin.
landing
There we
craft
go.
heading
That's
towards-
one.
I can see. I'm assuming that line at the top of the image there is a beachhead. So perhaps you could have had these flotillas of various landing crafts
Or
on
just a
their way.
guy in a canoe who lost his way.
Could be Pele Lu, could be, of course it says it's Midway, but I think that Midway is just the title of the game, but it probably encompasses
It could
most
also
of
be the company.
It could be, well,
the company
no,
that
was,
made it. Like Rareware.
No, it's definitely the Midway point. It's the Battle of Midway. It starts with the Battle of Midway and ends, of course, with the surrendering of and the what is it when the God Emperor admitted he was human, and that was part of MacArthur's that was part of his peace deal.
Right. Oh yeah.
So they said, so the emperor say to the people that they're still technically descended from the sun god,
like all of us.
What the hell is in here? Anyway, so congratulations to Battle Stations Midway for having those great expanses, and of course the Atlantic Ocean is obviously very tight. Lots of things that are a lot closer together in the Atlantic.
Right.
The Pacific is a greater expanse overall. Slide forward. This is a EGI2 exclusive award. For none of these games pictured here are Vampire Reign awards. So we got none of these. So we've got 4 games pictured here, all with vampire characters or vampire storylines. So you've got your Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen 2, the feller from the Castlevania Game Boy Advance and DS games, Blood Rain, who we've talked about on the show before. And of course, Van Helsing. None of these games are Vampire Reign, and congratulations to
That was an award.
That was what exactly? So all 4 of them got the award. So congratulations
to all of
to
the
them. I mean,
teams
that's
who
a lot
worked
of
so
people.
hard on
Real
those
quick, what does the physical award look like? What are all those games sharing?
That is
What
a
do they
good
have to
question.
pass between them?
It's like a oh wow.
Every
it's
other
like
weekend.
It's like a special. It's like 4 like kind of rectangles, kind of angled slightly, with pictures of the games in them.
Oh, all right.
It's like a JPEG.
That's worth trading around. If you
Congratulations
if you win it
to
with a bunch of
congratulations to the Van Helsing game, which I believe is kind of a Devil May Cry style 3D action game with combos.
Okay.
And Blood Rain, which is a third-person shooter, but sometimes you can jump on the enemy and suck the blood out. Castlevania Portrait of Ruin and not Portrait of Ruin. Which one is it? It's
certainly not Fortune of Ruin.
Portrait of Ruin is, of course. Oh no, that's Lament of Innocence. So that's actually the PlayStation 2 Castlevania game. I apologize.
Yeah.
So that's another kind of Devil May Cry style game. And then Blood Omen 2 is more of a kind of an action platformer in the vein of Tomb Raider, but with also you can suck the blood from across the room. But none of those games are Vampire Reign, and as a result of that, they get that very special Game of the Year awards for 2007.
Yay!
Good.
Next up is the award for 2 words, which is Bullet Witch, which goes to the game called Bullet Witch. Alan?
That makes sense that they would get it.
Yeah, because there's just 2 words. One word is bullet, one word's witch, and they put them together and they made a game, and it's
Bullet
a solid.
Witch.
I would say it's a pretty. I think most people would say it's a 4 or 5 out of 10 game. So there wasn't a lot of opportunities for it to pick up awards, but luckily it picked up the award for having 2 words.
Bullet
That's
Witch.
nice that there's a category that kind of catches these games that fall through the cracks.
Absolutely.
Like Bullet Witch. People don't play these games, but then they can still win an award, almost on a technicality.
And it's all this, and it's like you don't want to forget a game like Bullet Witch, do you,
Bullet
Joe?
Witch.
Because you want to think about, well, what's this witch doing? Why she got these bullets, and what's she doing with them?
Bullet Witch.
I mean, if I were a witch and I was given some sort of large, sort of hip-mounted machine gun, and I could dodge and flip my way through various levels and defeat large enemies, as you see here, I would want my story to be told. I would want my story to be told, is what I'm saying. It's quite large.
You ask Bullet Witch what she's going to put in a gun, you know the answer.
Joe, what's your sort of ethnic makeup?
I think I'm English, Italian, French, and German.
German would have been. I hear the word Rumrill, and that makes me think. That sounds like Rommel. So I think German right away.
Oh yeah, no, I think I'm just a little bit.
So it's possible that in the period of time that we had talked about with the 9th and 10th century with the sexual skull women,
The sexual skull. Who probably? Do you think they knew Bullet Witch?
They probably knew a Bullet Witch because, of course, we got as far as the Lutherans, or not the Lutherans, the Calvinists.
Episcopalians.
Well, the Episcopalians are just that's just the.
Robbie,
those
what
are
am I?
Americans.
What religion am I again?
You're a Zoroastrian, Allan.
Thank you.
What about you, Joe? What team do you play ball with?
We were Unitarian Universalists for like 3 months, and then my dad wanted to keep watching football, so then we stopped going to church. But it was called Unitarian Universalism. I think all I remember is learning about Clara Barton.
Clara Barton,
Red Cross.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, and thank you for that. Now we know your ethnic makeup, and we know a little bit more about you, and so the conversation will flow more freely, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Next on the 2007 Game of the Year awards is game most likely to involve escaping from Bug Island award.
That's
Bug
definitely
Island.
going to go. Oh yeah, to escape from Bug Island.
So if you're looking for a game that's going to let you get the hell out of Bug Island. And this is obviously a survival horror game, Allan. It's terrifying. What could happen?
Looks so cool.
It looks crazy. What happens to people on Bug Island?
But I wouldn't want to leave.
That's very interesting.
I'd want to hang out with those fellas.
It makes sense.
Yeah, because you won't want to. This could be just me, but if I were taking myself or taking my family on a bit of an island vacation
to Bug Island.
It doesn't even have to be. It could be an educational kind of like a corporate retreat,
like going to Colonial Williamsburg.
Absolutely, like Colonial, exactly. And then have these horrors walk out of the woods. With their weird bumpy skin and their ribs and their wide mouths.
It's incredible.
Just advancing toward you.
Just advancing towards you. What we're gonna get, and I would turn to my boss or I would turn to whomever I was going to escape with, and I would say, let's get the hell off of Bug Island.
We've got to escape from Bug Island.
That's great.
And you're going to be
Good
glad
job,
that you
Robbie.
played
So
it.
congratulations congratulations to Bug Island for escape from Bug Island. It's the whole sentence.
Right.
To get out of
don't
Bug
congratulate
Island.
Bug Island.
That's for the Nintendo Wii.
Oh, really? So you could use motion controls.
So you could use motion controls to kind of whip your way out of Bug Island.
And can you play as your own me? It can be actually like you're escaping.
All right, calm down.
Okay.
Next up, we've got this is the first on the EGI2 2007 Game of the Year Awards here on twitch.tv/EGI_2 where you're watching the show. The best home version of Samurai Showdown to date, which is 2007, because we all know that the Samurai Showdown collection, which you can download on the eShop, PlayStation Store, Xbox 360, and Steam and Storefront, and I assume various other digital gaming storefronts. Those are now the definitive editions. But in 2007, if you were looking for the best home version of Samurai Showdown that's not the Neo Geo version, which of course is a home port. It's not even a port, it's just running on the arcade hardware, but the arcade hardware has been just stuffed into a TV top box for but quite expensive, a good $700 for the console, and then another $200 or $300 in some cases for these games.
I do understand that.
So if you're not willing to pony up for that, but you are willing to pony up for a $400 Panasonic or Philips 3DO console, you could probably get Samurai Showdown for the 3DO for the low-ish price of, I want to say around $64.99 in 1995.
And what is that in now money?
Oh, it's probably like $85.
Heavens.
So, but that's the closest that you could get. Super Nintendo version of Samurai Showdown. Very decent port, plenty of colors, a lot of the I think it even had Earthquake, the very large character Earthquake, who didn't make it into the Sega CD and Genesis versions of Samurai Showdown. But of course it was very kind of zoomed out, so the characters were very sort of like, you can imagine this is the Samurai Showdown
First time chatter. I can't read the name, but they said, Joe, do you like Baldur's Gate 3?
For the 40 minutes that my girlfriend tried to show it to me, it was very enjoyable.
You can see that there. That's kind of what the Samurai Showdown matches would have looked like on the Super Nintendo, and then with the Genesis ones, they were about here.
I don't think we can.
With that greater real estate for the characters in Samurai Showdown, you would have
it's Wyatt.
less room
Wyatt,
to
Wyatt.
anticipate.
My friend Wyatt is asking about Baldur's Gate.
Right.
Thank you, Wyatt.
Hey, I'll tell you this, Wyatt.
First time chatter, Wyatt.
Baldur's Gate, it's no booger, man.
But if you were playing the 3DO version of Samurai Showdown, then of course it would have the arcade scaling effect, which allows you to expand, put some distance between you and your opponent, and also see those nice scaling effects really come into play, which you really you kind of miss that kind of chunky scaling effect these days, don't you, Joe?
Yes, of course. It's like how you see an early Pixar movie and they're kind of more clunky, and you're like, this is better than this.
Yeah, and I wish
it's cleaning up.
Yeah, absolutely. And Heimaru, Earthquake. Who's the green one with the
Slimer?
Slimer with the claws. And congratulations to Samurai Showdown. First time. I think this is the first time Samurai Showdown's won an award on EGI2. So, big deal, Allan.
Yes, that's got to feel quite good for them.
Next up, the game most likely to take place on Wing Island, Wing effing Island.
Wow.
Also for the Nintendo Wii, Allan.
Is that the title of the game?
No, it just felt
You're
right.
having
It just
fun.
felt like it's just having fun, trying to make the awards go a little bit, have a little bit of a kind of like things kind of level out at a certain point around the 8th award of the night. So you want to just throw a bone in there for the audience.
If I was on Wing Island, I would be scared that it was in the same archipelago as Bug Island.
Absolutely, you find yourself flying over Wing Island, maybe you crash land on Bug Island, and you don't even have
escape.
And then you've got to escape off of Bug Island when you trying to have a soaring good time with
Wing Island.
Wing Island on the Nintendo Wii.
Travel is scary.
Let's go open up the phone calls and see what people are saying about the 2007 Game of the Year awards. What?
This guy's on Roku City over here.
We're on What? What does that mean?
He's watching TV.
Caller, you're on the air. Caller, you're on the air with EGI2's 2007 Game of the Year awards. What are your thoughts about the awards that we've seen so far?
Well, back to you, Robbie, and back to you, Allan. And I'll go ahead and say back to Joe. And since they're in the chat, I will say back to Luke and back to Wyatt. It is your old pal, friend of the show, friend of the chat, Scott from Pittsburgh.
Scotty from Pitt. What do we call you, Scotty Pitten? The other day.
and I like that when you came up. Back to you, Robbie. I like that when you came up with that, Scotty Pitten. I've never heard that one.
Scotty, what are your thoughts about the EGI2's 2007 Game of the Year awards so far? Are you seeing awards go to the ones that you won, or is your awards pool
any upsets?
Any upsets? Anything that you would have assumed, like maybe the Samurai Showdown one, you would have assumed that maybe the Sega CD one would have been the definitive home console version.
Back to you, Rob. I was thinking, I was a little shocked to see Wing Island take home the Wing Island award, but I'm pretty much on par with all other awards that were given. I think they were all fair. Everyone was did their due diligence to earn their spot on the 2007 awards. But I think that there was an honorable mention that possibly maybe was forgotten. And that would have been for the game Beowulf having the most appearances of half naked men.
Half-naked men.
And that also juices the numbers to bringing on that honorable mention.
I'm going to go ahead and agree with Scott from Pittsburgh here. I think that the male body can be quite striking to see, and of course you don't have to look any farther than the David statue there in Florence.
Yeah.
Florence. I think it's Florence, Massachusetts.
Maybe if it's on tour. It's got to be overseas.
And that's a good-looking fella right there. And you know, if he were to offer to take me out for a couple hours, you know, I wouldn't hesitate. Why not? Maybe you can teach me something.
Yeah, dinner with David.
Let me tell you something, Scott. Guys don't end up 11, 12 feet tall with a head of hair like that.
And solid rock.
Solid as a rock.
Solid as a rock.
Granite.
Unless they know something.
A thing or
Back
two.
to you, Rob. This is true, and I would have to agree that I would most certainly, if I had the chance to go out on the town for a few hours. I would be with the David statue that would be an incredible time.
Allan, what about you? If you were to be taken out on a wild, paint the town red with one of the great males of history, who would it be?
Out of all of the males, including great statues, I would actually pick you, Robbie, because you kind of remind me when I'm around him. Just being in this green screen studio, I feel like it feels like I'm in a museum in a way. And Robbie, and he is quite stoic and still. His body is quite masculine and strong, and he just kind of sits there. And I can see him from my vantage point, and I do kind of keep my eyes on him. And I just feel like I'm, you know, with this green background, I could be anywhere. I feel like I am out painting the town red, as it were, with Robbie. And I like how much bigger he is than me, how strong he is, and he's just got quite an incredible, powerful body. So I think I'd have to pick you, Robbie. Back to you, Robbie.
Back to you, Allan. Back to you, Joe. What about you? Stepping out with a feller, who'd it be?
Back to you, Luke.
If we're keeping it in statues, I wouldn't mind hanging out with Atlas for a little bit. Got the whole world on his back. You can tell that guy's
libertarian. Then you've got anti-government leanings. You've got various. You want to tear it all down. You feel like
No, I want to lift it all up.
You think like you deserve the sweat of your labor.
I would say that for sure.
Scott, what do you think about that?
As long as that sweat doesn't turn to blood.
Does Joe strike you as right wing?
Back to you, Rob. One thing that you know, I would like to say we don't like to throw logs in the lake. And
Absolutely.
as you know, I'm not a political man. As I'm not a
trying to
tech
stir the
savvy
pot.
man.
So let's just throw Atlas out on the street there. I'm going to go ahead and replace Joe's suggestion with Sisyphus, the man who pushes the rock. Since we already,
that's a better choice.
We don't know
forget about the globe. Forget about the Rockefeller Center man. You just go with the man who pushes the rock. I mean, that's got to be a tough job, Scott.
Yeah.
And back to you, that would be a tough job. You know, trying to push that rock all day uphill. I could imagine how much one would have to hydrate.
But you want to hang out with that guy?
You're trying to
spend
you do
to get
Joe.
the water.
Yeah, you do.
You want?
Yeah,
I do.
We're not doing Atlas because
Robbie changed
we're not
your
getting
choice.
political.
Robbie switched it.
Yeah, I switched your choice.
So that's who you get to hang out.
I hate
That's
when this
good
happens at
for you.
shows.
Yeah.
When I say a joke on
But
stage.
back to make the short of it all.
And Allan, I'm going to switch. I'm going to switch yours too.
I'm
going to switch yours to Xerxes, the Persian
flying
Emperor
I was
Xerxes.
thinking of Hermes.
Okay,
Sorry.
thank you, Robbie.
You're welcome. Because that would have been.
I want to say. Back to you, Robbie. I believe deep in my heart, as the dreamer, I believe that Joe is a good guy.
Thank you.
I would like to really just tell him that I appreciate how much that he was invested in story time. As most guests, they don't really get involved in the story time. Sometimes, you know, they can't appreciate the story that Robbie makes up. And you were
did good.
paying attention,
most
very
of the guests
attentive.
don't like it. They get mad. They
Yeah,
get
kind of.
confused.
I think that truth telling floors people.
Yeah.
And back to you, Robbie. I did have a bit of funny video game news, if you would.
Let's hear it.
Hey.
We'd love to hear the funny video game news from Pittsburgh. Let's hear it.
And so if you could imagine, and back to you, Robbie, Joe, and back to you, Allan. If you could imagine, first scene, the first line, and Joe, we'd like to tell people, if you would, you could close your eyes and imagine, or you could leave them open and imagine. The choice is yours because we believe in choice.
You can do it both ways.
So you would imagine the first slide, if you didn't know, Fallout has been in the news lately as they're making a show on Amazon Prime. And so this will be the first slide. Would maybe be like a trailer, but the trailer would probably show a lot of sexual anime. But then
I'm glad my eyes are open.
it would slide. The next slide would go to and you back to you, Robbie. You guessed it. It would go to former Secretary of State for Education from the UK, Michael Gove.
Absolutely.
And he would look and he would say Chernobyl.
Oh wow. So I'm going to go
and then back to Allan would hit the button that would go.
That's not funny video game news.
I'm under the impression that it's funny
that's not funny video game news.
It was.
Unless
it seemed like he got all.
Unless it's funny. Unless he was saying Metro. I think if he was saying if he said Metro Exodus.
Oh right, yeah, that makes more sense.
Or any of the Metro games, or any of the Stalker games. Then we might have some funny video game news. Scott, what do you think about that?
I just can't believe that this is how kids are getting their funny video game news these days.
And back to you, Robbie. You know, I agree. You know, I would have to agree with you because you are that. As you know, I'm not much of a gamer. Joe, you might not know this about me, but I don't play many video games. So I went out on a limb with Fallout, and to be quite frank, I'm gonna stand on my choice, and I'm gonna stay with Fallout.
He's throwing close.
If you believe it, then
everybody calm down for a second. Right. This is where things are gonna get tricky. This is where the tension builds up between the audience and the creators of the programming, because what he's suggesting is that Michael Gove, former Secretary of Education, architect of the Brexit campaign, and current Secretary for Housing, or current, Education Minister, and now Secretary of Leveling Up Housing and Communities, is taking a look at the Fallout TV show, not the Fallout video game, the Fallout TV show on Amazon Prime, and applying his baffling logic to the Fallout show, and saying that it looks like Chernobyl. And he's saying, and this feller, this jack-o'-lantern from Pennsylvania is trying to tell me that this is funny video game news.
This is TV news.
It's funny video game. It's funny video game television adaptation news.
But Chernobyl's not a video game.
But who has that graphic?
There is that one Chernobyl game, but he didn't say that one because that one's got a longer title.
The game. It was an adaptation of the event.
Chernobyl Light.
So maybe we meet in the middle and we call it funny video game TV show related news.
But that's not this show, Scott.
Yeah, that's a different stream with a different couple of guys and a guest.
Are you making the slide right now, James? All right, just flash it.
Well, he's got to tell the joke again.
No, we've got the joke.
Thank you, Scott.
We've got to move on. Well, Scott from Pittsburgh, thank you.
We can.
The lunatics have taken over the asylum, apparently. Allan, what do you think? What do you think of this? Have we completely derailed? Are we going to be able to work our way back from this?
I think the show has become irreparably damaged since the show files were deleted. I think the show is a mess. We're doing segments without the infrastructure or capabilities that we require to do these segments right. People are calling in with all kinds of crazy ideas and getting confused. They're messing with a sort of well-oiled, perfect formula that Robbie's developed over the course of many, many years. Generations, the show has been on generations and gone through different corporations, different corporate owners. We're now freewheeling it wild. We've lost all corporate
You're going to be showing clips from this on the anniversary shows for years to come, though.
Joe, I'm going to tell you something about me, all right? I'm like Allan said, the show's wild and I'm wild.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely. I can
feel that.
You can't. There's a heat coming off of me.
There's a heat
that you
coming
probably are get that's tickling your little whiskers there.
You feel that?
I can't get any closer than this.
I mean, my metabolism is slowing down. I do have to keep my heart rate up more than I used to. I have to make that effort every single day.
Yeah.
But I try to keep my skin hot.
Cody Fancy Pants says, Allan, show us your butt. There's something fundamentally broken about the show.
Yeah, so thank you, Scott from Pittsburgh, for sabotage. And I said Sabo earlier because that was what the wooden shoes were called. They'd throw those into the gears of the windmills, and it was called. That's how sabotage.
That's how you stop a windmill.
And back to you, Robbie, and back to you, Joe, and back to you, Allan. You know, I do love you all, and always thank you for your time. You know, I do appreciate you being my dear friend, Joe. You will be added to my list of friends. If you happen to watch the Luke Man show, you can catch my entire list of friends, which is kind of kind of turning into a long list that I won't put you all through now, but you can tune in. And I would like to
whatever
say,
you do, don't save that list to Luke's desktop because he'll delete it.
because Luke, we still love Luke. I'm sure that Luke didn't delete if he sabotaged or didn't sabotage. We still forgive him, and I love you all. Have a wonderful night.
And happy award season,
Halloween.
Scott. Thank you so much for your call. We've got some more awards to get to right now. Let's dive right back into the 2007 Game of the Year awards. If you're just joining us, the most negative space award has gone to the Expanses of Ocean and Battle Stations Midway, which of course is a game where you play on land, sea, and air.
God, that's a lot of negative
actually, you don't play at land. You just do sea and air. I don't know why I said land.
No one's just joining us.
None of these games are picked here. Our Vampire Reign award goes to these 4 games, none of which are the game Vampire Reign.
Robby, you don't need to go through
Bullet Witch awards.
Bullet Witch.
We don't have any
two words for Bullet Witch. Bug
Witch.
Island, the Neo Geo Wing Island, and the next award goes to 4 nouns and 2 conjunctions award to Soul Nomad and the World Eaters.
Wow.
Alan,
You
what
can't
are
argue
people
that.
saying? What are people saying in the chat about Soul Nomad and the World Eaters?
Please give the B movie an award. I think there's something fundamentally broken about our chat tonight.
There's that. We're
You
not
missed
talking about
it.
funny video game news. We're
Dude,
talking
you
about
should've
no
brought that up with
television
AB.
adaptations. This is 2007 Game of the Year awards. Soul
Calibur.
Nomad and the World Eaters award goes to
They're all talking about the B movie.
that one. That one right here. Do we have a caller on the air right
I think
now?
you're getting trolled.
Yes.
Who is it?
Who's that?
Oh, this is Kat. I'm calling from Ithaca.
Kat from Ithaca. It's
Ithaca
wonderful to
is
hear your
it's a
voice.
great
What are your
school.
Ithaca is gorgeous.
Everyone shut the. Kat, what's your thoughts on the 2007 Game of the Year awards?
I'm liking it so far. I'm definitely happy that you were able to do the awards, even with the deletions that someone may or may not have done.
Oh, don't
You would have
happy
seen.
that
You would have
there's
seen
still
all
going
these particle effects. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's sad, but the show's still going on, which is great. I do have to say I'm a little disappointed because I really thought Portal was going to be winning so many awards, and it hasn't showed up at all, and that's
Well, the
that's
awards,
pretty
the
sad.
night's
It's
not
not
over
The
yet.
night's young. There's still
It's
plenty of
not
awards.
over
So Portal could end up. We all know Portal came out in 2007. The Orange Box came in 2007. It made a big splash on the video game, on the world of video games, because you not only were introduced to the world of Portal for the first time, but you also were console gamers were introduced to near perfect PC ports of Half-Life 2, Episode 1 and Episode 2, and of course the original game, as well as Team Fortress 2, which is still played by a great many people today. Kat.
That is true. Yeah, and for me specifically, I have to say I really like Portal because it also kind of introduced me to video games in general, because that is the first video game I remember playing and being like, oh, this is so much fun. I could do this forever.
That is an
That's-
important.
Kat, if you were-
it
fuzzy
is a
memory
very
for
important
you.
game to a lot of people. I think it probably got a lot of people into video games.
Kat, if you were to give the Portal an award this evening, what award would you give it?
Were you asking me or chat?
Yeah.
Which award?
Me?
Yeah,
Oh,
you.
Kat,
No,
sorry.
Kat, no. Who are you
Okay,
talking
okay, wait.
Don't worry. We're all talking to Kat.
Kat, who are you talking to?
Kat's talking to us.
Kat's talking to me and Joe and Allan.
Yeah.
Who's Joe talking to?
Okay.
Joe's talking to Robbie.
I'm the only one looking at the chat.
Oh, Joe's talking
Just
to the
kidding. I
chat.
can't
Yeah.
see the chat from here.
All right, calm down, Joe.
All right.
Okay. All right. So I would give Portal. Well, I would give it the Game of the Year award, to be honest.
Okay.
But
Interesting.
If it doesn't get that,
A little presumptuous there,
I
Kat.
would-
And no swears in it. There were swears in some of the other ones.
That's-
Were there swears?
In some of
that's
the awards.
true.
Some
But
of the
I'm
awards.
trying to keep it family friendly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
I would give it Game of the Year, and maybe also the award for game with just one word in the title.
It could be a award.
Yeah,
it could
that,
be.
that makes more
good.
sense.
We've given
because
out-
Robbie's awards. They are usually just about the wording, the like
very
kind of
title-based, I've
number
seen.
of words or verbs or nouns and things like that. So I think it's probably he doesn't really give out good game like award for best game or good game award.
My Kat, my OCD sometimes manifests itself with an obsession with how with sentence structure, and so that is, I would say that a lot of these words are results of that
Right.
syntax, an obsession with syntax and ensuring that certain ideas are communicated in a certain way that I can appreciate. It doesn't even have to be correct for the English language. It just has to be something that I see and have a reaction, a positive experience with.
That makes sense.
Portal could get the most holes award. We've given out a most holes award on other, but those aren't really holes, aren't they? They are portals.
Portals
Yeah,
are
so that doesn't- that wouldn't
they're
really
like
count.
magical holes.
Do they suck you
I don't
in?
know.
You jump
No.
through them.
Okay, you jump through them, so it's okay.
It's gravity, physics based. It's a
Gotcha.
could have most
Puzzle game.
I don't know, most.
I don't know if you can really give it the most holes because it's kind of just like one
Well, that's
hole.
oh, it is
two,
just one
like
hole. That's a good
two
point.
places.
Yeah, that's a
It
good
seems
point.
to be, you can
For
give
least,
it fan.
it could be. Well, it couldn't get the least holes because that would be 0 holes, which is a 0 is a hole.
That's true.
Whoa.
It could
This
get
is the
game
problem.
with
This is
one
the
hole.
problem with the
Most
game.
interesting hole award.
Most interesting single hole.
Most useful hole.
I like that. Most interesting hole award.
All
I
right.
like that. Oh, great. Thank you,
and
Kat.
that's. Do I have a button here? And that could be that's game of the year
That is
awards.
funny video game.
No,
news.
that's not
It
funny
says
video game.
it's funny
news.
game
That's
video
not
game
fun-
news.
No,
that-
it wasn't funny.
That's
It was
that's
just news.
James
It was just
having
interesting.
a good old time. He's drunk on power. He thinks
I don't
he's
know
just
how
because he's
people are
6 feet
getting their
away from me that I
information.
grow a fingernail long enough to scratch him on the side of the face.
Wow, they're being very intense towards Luke in the chat. EGI2 Watcher says.
Well,
"Fuck
thank you
wish
for
I
your
could
call,
see.
Kat.
And they highlighted that.
I hope that the rest of the awards go your way, and we don't disappoint you any further because
Yeah.
we do have an imperative. We follow a code. We are an honor system. We're honor bound to the system. We create the system. That we created our own
Yeah.
system, and then we're honor bound to it.
Who is the?
So we're
who's
only
like
following
the
the-
academy of these awards. Like
What?
who's
Yeah.
like who's voting on these?
EGI2.
Just Robbie.
Okay, just
It's
Robbie.
Just Robbie does this.
Not even you?
4 nouns and 2 conjunctions award goes to Soul Nomad and the Soul Eaters. Next up on the EGI2 2007 Game of the Year Awards, I think this is going to be a big surprise for everybody.
Going to Portal.
Most
Nope,
textured
okay.
water.
Most textured
yeah.
water.
So
And
it's
that's
not
that
only has the
negative
water got a texture, but it's
but
also
that's
got
for
real
negative
time.
space.
That's not negative space because it's filled with submarines.
Let me
Because
see
it's
that
Silent
again. Let me
Hunter
see that
4,
again.
which is a submarine action game. It's like if you were they've got submarines and battle stations midway, but Silent Hunter 4. So you can look at that water and you say that's negative space to you,
I
but I
do.
know for a fact that thing is filled with U-boats.
Right.
And
There were no
and
U-boats in the first one.
Maybe a
What
few,
was
but
under
not,
the
but well, the
surface?
Japanese didn't have a big submarine fleet. They weren't
Okay.
like the Germans. But Silent Hunters, those that was the Atlantic one. I said the Atlantic Ocean is more crowded than the Pacific Ocean, and that's true. And that's not negative space as
Yeah.
a result of that. That's filled with war machines.
You make a good point. You make a damn good point.
Silent Hill EGI2 watcher says Silent Hill 4 was Americans in the Pacific.
Did you want me to hang up or?
Well, the point is that there's a lot more. There were we know that there were submarines. Maybe I'm thinking of sea wolves. Holy moly! All right. Well, this
What
is
a
the
night.
result.
Holy
I'm gonna
moly! That's
go
what they
ahead-
should have
I'm
called it. That's what they should have called Portal. Holy moly!
Oh, now I like the name Portal. I don't think they should call it that.
Still here.
Caller.
You never know when the caller's
What are your
still
thoughts
online.
on Silent Hunter 4?
Wait, that was the game that just won most textured water.
Yeah. So we don't have to rewrite anything about. We know 2 things. One, that water is textured like crazy. That's the bumpiest water I've ever seen.
It is very bumpy.
And it's got real-time lighting effects, and it's got a submarine on top, and you bet your britches it's got a submarine on the bottom.
2 bunk submarines.
Yeah.
No, they.
Submarine on top,
And
submarine on bottom. That's a bunk submarine.
Joe, I'm about
Um,
3 or 4 little sides like that, from just knocking your head.
You're saying
clean off.
You're saying a couple more us sides, and I'm outside.
You gotta
I'm
be
saying.
you gotta really be careful
Alan,
because
get-
he's strong as hell. Like those,
I know
like
he's strong
it's
like
not.
Atlas.
It's like I'm not even
He's
kidding.
strong
and
like
I'm
Atlas.
taking this really seriously.
Whoever
he will kill
who's
you.
on the phone right now? Is it so?
His cat.
It's
Ithaca is
still
gorgeous.
cat. That's right.
Dial 911 because Joe's about to meet his.
My maker, which is rareware.
Well, I hope everybody can just resolve this peacefully. Yeah.
We went offline.
All right. Thank you for your call, Kat. We do. We have another caller coming in right now. Kat from Ithaca, always good to hear from you, and always good to get your perspective on the Silent Hill. Silent Hill. What's so funny?
Congrats to Silent Hunter 4. I think it's well deserved.
I was thinking about
Thank you for that,
video
Kat.
game
You're
news.
very patient with us. We got our next caller up. Caller, you're on the air with EGI2. It's the 2007 Game of the Year Awards. What are your thoughts?
I don't like water, Robbie.
Oh no! You tuned into the wrong video game awards. Then.
Yeah, we got at least two games that deal quite mightily with the element of water, as not only as a physical space to explore, but as a device, as a gameplay device.
Yeah.
Water has never done me right, never.
What's your take your hat off and throw it into the house. What's the problem with water?
When you're thirsty, you ever drink it or
how you
take a
hydrate
bath or shower?
How you washing? Yeah.
I mean, it's a necessary evil. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Where are you calling?
Who is this? Yeah, where are you calling from? What kind of are you?
He's certainly not calling from Atlantis.
You calling? Yeah, you can't be. Well, you could be calling from Atlantis because there's too much water.
Oh,
that was their whole problem.
Well,
that's a historical event that we don't talk about enough anymore.
The flooding of Atlantis.
I don't think it was a flood.
to kick a dead horse.
I think it was collapsed into the sea. I think that's what the
the Atlanteans.
I hate to kick a dead horse, but it's Cody from Florida.
It's Cody
and
from
I've been
Florida.
wrong
He
so
hates
far.
water. He's sick of this stuff.
You're surrounded by it.
He's surrounded by it. It laps at their doors. The crustaceans grow up on the poles and the posts when the floods come in and the hurricanes batter the place. But Cody, your thoughts on the 2007 Game of the Year awards? Go.
I mean, what do we have to really bring war? War is bad enough. Why would you combine war with water?
It's two necessary evils.
Well, that's a great question.
War is bad and water is bad,
Right.
and like you're just gonna do both at the same time.
What about a super soaker fight?
Let's spin
Super
on
Soaker,
this
that's fun.
top for
Super
a second
Soaker
here.
is
I
fun.
can imagine Franklin Delano Roosevelt going up in front of the Congress and instead of saying what he said once the Pacific fleet was near sunk at the bottom of Pearl Harbor,
because there's less surfers
he says
there.
no. He just says he gets up in front of the Congress and says, instead of doing the Day of Infamy speech there, he says war's bad, water's bad.
Scott from Pittsburgh. Water did drown my roommate's car. Thank you,
Brevity.
Scott from Pittsburgh.
And
the soul
water
of
drowned
wit.
his roommate's car. It was like a Camry, I think it was.
So you
A
have
Cadillac.
a vendetta.
Cadillac.
So you have a vendetta against water.
Mm-hmm.
So wait, do you have rabies?
But would you agree that
No.
Silent Hill 4 has the most textured water you've ever seen?
Surely you can meet
And
halfway
I
on that.
and Cody, I want to just get this straight because we're not talking about water that you've seen in games recently. This is water that you would have seen in 2007.
Right. Finding Nemo.
Oh, in 2007? Oh, that's. Did Cold Fear come out in 2007? The Coast Guard.
No, that was 2000. I believe
boat?
that was 2005 or 2006.
This guy's like an encyclopedia.
No, Robbie's the encyclopedia. Robbie is the one. He's the
I think that's
who I
encyclopedia.
was
who you're
referring
talking
to.
about.
What was it? It was 2000.
You,
what
so
was
far
it?
in my mind,
2007 or
I think you're
2005.
rabid.
It was 5. I always want to say 6. There's something about the word fear and the word 6. I guess it could be the sign of the devil.
Yeah.
But if I could shout out my father Melville, he was a Coast Guard member, and I was so thrilled to play Cold Fear because it was a Coast Guard. The main character was a Coast Guard man.
Survival horror game takes place on a boat. He's a Coast Guard party boy. He loves to fire. He's got a laser sight and it's got real-time lighting effects.
So if you were in the Coast Guard, you would be shooting not at anybody else. You'd be shooting down
This said
into the
Endless
water.
Ocean came out in 2007. I think that had better textured water. Well, that's interesting because you don't go to the surface of the water in Endless Ocean. You're underneath it. All the other stuff is textured.
Can you see the texture?
Yeah,
Ocean
Coast Guard.
floor,
That's the Navy.
fish,
The Navy
seaweeds,
goes underwater.
Can you
Coast
see the
Guard is
texture by
above.
looking up and seeing the surface?
That's not what
Yeah.
you see.
The
That
Coast
ain't
Guard
texture.
brings.
Hate texture.
The Coast
Where
Guard
I
deals
come
with
from.
the Cubans.
What?
What's up?
No, I love you, Robbie. I love you, Allan. Back to you, Robbie.
Thank
Back
you
to you,
for your
Allan.
call,
I'll take
Cody.
my call.
Still trying to figure out what the hell you're up to, but we'll talk to you soon. But we do have to get back to the 2007 Game of the Year awards. Allan and Joe and chat.
Chomping at the bit to see what's next.
Next up, we got the textured water going to Silent Hill 4,
Look how
which
textured
I
that
was
water
corrected.
is.
I thought it took place in the Atlantic. It takes place in the Pacific. Doesn't matter. Next up is this is an award that goes out to a game that came out the same year BioShock came out. Award that goes to Raw Danger.
Bullet Witch.
How did you? Seems like it would be hard to pick a game in that category.
Right, probably a lot of games came out.
A lot of games came out in 2007, but that one got the award. Why was that, Allan?
I don't know, but I like to think about the history of our planet, all the like natural events, and all the certain chemicals that had to be just in the right place at the right time. The Big Bang forming our planet, and evolution, and all the wars of man, kind of leading up to a situation where you could make a slide like that and show it to people online. I think that's quite an interesting way to just to imagine how we got here.
I think it's meaningful. I mean, we were talking about two words earlier in the show, bullet and witch, and this is Raw and Danger.
Right. It could have won.
Bullet
Could have won
Witch,
that.
Raw
category.
It was nominated in that category, and we don't talk about that enough. But it was nominated in that category. It didn't win because Bullet Witch had more word.
It's interesting.
It
You
had more
never
word, and
ever
it was
mention
already
the
up for the other
nominees.
one too.
And it is an honor just to be nominated, but we never find out who they are. We only hear the winners.
Well,
Winners
because
write the
if we
history.
found out everybody that was nominated for every single award, we'd be here until retirement. We don't have that kind of a time.
Because the winners write the books.
History's being made today.
History's being made by many games, and one of those games just happens to be Raw Danger.
Raw Danger.
Raw Danger, big hit.
Just looking at the game, you think of yourself in that situation as some poor wretch crawling up top some sort of a pipe, some type of a pipe or like a.
Is this a game?
Like a board.
This is like a video game.
And this is one of those old dry boards that we talked about. Now that's a wet board because you can see the rain, but the rain isn't sliding off. There's no texture mapping of the rain hitting that surface that
That's
There's
rain.
a lot of water
this
in
poor
video
wretch
games.
is walking upon.
That's
Kind of dirty water as well, all around.
And
Absolutely.
Whose voice am I hearing?
Boston.
This is Catherine from Philly. Hello, Howard.
Catherine from Philly, great to hear from you. What are your thoughts on Raw Danger?
I think Raw Danger is a fascinating game. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is the game where you're like, there's like reporters around, and like you're trying to report on something, and then they die a lot, and they like get replaced. There's like always a replacement reporter. This is Raw Danger.
Which is odd because this takes place. It's about reporters in a disaster zone, but there's also disaster report.
Yes. Oh wait, maybe that's what. Wait. Oh wait, I'm thinking of that. Yeah. No. Well, fuck. I mean, I don't really know. Raw Danger.
I think that you're got the
Stump the
nail on.
caller.
All I know about I don't know a damn thing about this game, to be honest, Catherine, because all I know is that this game came out the same year that BioShock came out, and that to me is worthy of an award just on its own.
That's how it got the award.
Just being like the same year as BioShock and.
You
Like,
think about
like,
BioShock
it's
is a game
big
that you
year.
can. BioShock at this point is a timeless classic. I think
A
we can all-
well-liked,
we can all-
well-known,
a
popular
well-known game.
The
It still
gaming
looks
community
great. Great art style,
loves
great
the game,
gameplay.
influenced many
interesting
tons of
story.
games after it.
I hate to do this. BioShock doesn't hold up.
It does
when
hold
did you
up.
play BioShock
I'm-
last?
What you-
When was the last time you played BioShock?
When's the last time I played BioShock, Alan? I think I played BioShock 3 or 4 years ago.
What? Okay.
I had a tremendous time.
But I have to.
I played the BioShock.
Hold on. I just want to point out to the caller, in Robbie's
Yeah.
defense, he plays really sort of difficult games that people don't like, that are not fun. So his metric for what would hold up, quote, that means, it means something totally different to, like, if you or I played an old game, we'd be like, oh, the controls don't make sense. It's kind of hard to play. But to Robbie, because there's something very special about his mind. He's a very unique person. There's something about him where he can play that and he says, this is fun.
But Allan,
Enjoys the pain.
I have the same problem. I also play terrible old bad games all the time.
Oh.
I have Robbie's disease as well.
But you
Robbie's-
said,
oh,
but
that's
you
what it's
think,
called.
But
It's
you
called
think
Robbie's
BioShock-
disease.
But you think BioShock does not hold up?
I don't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But
to
why
say.
do you?
Is this like Catherine from Philly?
Play.
Is this like one of those Oliver Sacks thing, like the man who mistook his wife for a hat? Like somehow your sickness is such that you see BioShock and you don't see the sheer quality and the sheer timelessness of that game?
No, what? What literary references?
It's not literature. He was a scientist.
Wait, no. What? I actually didn't really hear what you had said. Scientist? What are we talking about?
Oliver Sacks. He wrote a book of case studies of people who had sort of brain injuries, and one man mistook his wife for a hat.
Oh, I don't. Yeah.
He looked at his wife.
Wait, you're saying
that's what the case was about. He says he looks at his beautiful wife and he says that's a hat.
That's a Kangol hat.
And the doc says, no, that's your wife. And he says, no, that's a damn hat I'm gonna put on my head. And it's in some ways it's a tragedy, but in other ways it's a great read. Check it out from your library.
So I'm the one.
When you're not playing BioShock.
In other ways, it's a great read.
You're this. I'm trying to say, Catherine.
You're saying I'm looking at a hat right now.
Can't tell your life partner from a piece of clothing.
Sound up in the chat if BioShock holds up.
Credible.
Make a poll. Let's end this.
Well, here's the thing, right?
Yeah, I want to know. People think BioShock is worthy. I mean, it hasn't won any awards at this point.
Let's hear what Catherine has to say.
This is an award that specifically
I want to hear the caller. Go on.
I feel like the central narrative conceit of the game, the main trick of the game, I feel like it's played. I feel like it was played then. I feel like it's played now.
Oh, well, absolutely. It's trade as hell.
I feel like
it's not interesting. I'm just talking about the core gameplay.
So your complaints about the game are the narrative elements, not the gameplay elements.
I would say, well, I mean, I guess so, but like, where are we drawing lines between narrative elements and gameplay elements?
On the 2007 2007 Game of the Year award.
Killing people is like, oh, you were told to do it the whole time. You're whatever. I'm sorry. I love you guys.
You're nuts, kiddo.
I like Dishonored. You know what I mean? But that's from a few years later, so like they had an advantage. That's like time. That's money and energy. You know what I mean? That maybe BioShock didn't have, and maybe we just got to give it up to them just for making it in the end.
I mean, honestly, that's the most you can. I mean, how complicated is it to make a game like that, Joe? With all the.
It's a miracle every time.
That's a miracle.
Sorry.
It's like.
Takes weeks.
Takes least.
Takes weeks.
And that, people. I saw somebody say that something about water and BioShock for the 2007 Game of the Year awards, and maybe they didn't say it in chat. Maybe they just thought that someone should, and that someone should bring it up, and that one would be me. And that is that the water is not particularly well textured in BioShock. Maybe at the top of the game when you're crash landing into the ocean, there's some texture.
I remember the water being quite impressive.
But there's a lot more of it in Silent Hill 4.
I feel like if I can give it to BioShock, if I can find some shining lights here, let's turn it around. Okay. The graphics are pretty good.
Let's turn this ship around. Let's get the trolley on the turntable and let's send it back to town.
Agreed. Straight up.
Thanks for your call, Catherine. Yep. We do have some more Game of the Year 2007 Game of the Year awards to get to, so let's do that. We got 2007 that award. Then we got our next hand closest to the middle of the screen award goes to Medal of Honor Vanguard and the Nintendo Wii.
Holy moly!
So you've got a lot of games where the hand is kind of I can't really do it here because it's not quite the same thing. But if you can imagine that in first-person shooters, you got the hands holding your rifle or your pistol or
unless
your
you're on slappers
sort of an MP4 kind of machine gun. But here in Call of Duty Vanguard, it gets real. Takes up a lot of. We were talking about real estate with Samurai Showdown. Well, I'm talking about real estate in Medal of Honor Vanguard for the Nintendo Wii and I think PlayStation Portable. Joe.
Portable? You can bring that anywhere. Back to you.
Back to you, Allan. What are people saying in the chat about the Call of Duty? Call of Duty Vanguard is a live service game that is a more recent game. This is Medal of Honor Vanguard for the Nintendo Wii and PSP that came out in 2007, where the modeling for the model for the hand of the hero of the Medal of Honor game gets very high up to the point so you can imagine you're running around war-torn Europe with your hands covering half your sight.
Soupmaster says,
and you're toast.
Soupmaster says, I like the hand being in the middle, so I think people enjoy that.
Well, I'm not saying I'm not casting a judgment on it one way or the other. I'm just saying that's for this award, it has to go to Call of Duty. Medal of Honor Vanguard.
Do you think that's why they did it? Because they were gunning for the award? Think they were really wanted.
Man, that's pretty.
They specifically made it because they knew that this category.
I mean,
open?
I mean, award season is known to bring out the scheming in people. So I guess I could imagine that
someone will try to cast themselves as someone with a sort of interesting disability, or perhaps make a movie about a subject matter that is quite emotionally sensitive, and then they'll win the
They're
award.
called Oscar bait is what they call it.
Oscar bait.
And this one's EGI 2007 Game of the Year Awards
bait.
Hand closest to the middle of the screen award bait.
Interesting.
Joe, that's the most interesting thing you've said all night. You know, I was ready to write you off completely as a hack. As a whelp.
I'm one of those scoundrels like Luke.
But like all great scoundrels of literature and history, you always find the gold. You find the gold in your heart, and the gold fills your heart to the point of it being like it's like a warm, comfortable. It's a comfortable warm. Gold, generally speaking, I think of as a fairly comfortable mineral to hold in your hand.
Right. It's got a good weight to it.
It's got a great weight. It gets warm real quick, and it's soft.
It
is soft.
Worth a lot of money.
Yeah, this is kind of Joe's redemption arc. We all have our arcs in the show, and Joe was kind of in a dark place. We were was kind of poking the bear nest. Robbie's the bear nest, and Joe was doing these little comedic barbs that were pissing off Robbie, and I was getting mad.
But I reined it in.
You
I reined it in once I was
you did.
asked. I followed direction.
You did a redemption arc. You did say something quite interesting, and it made Robbie happy. You were inches away from getting socked by one of his big hands. And
I want to give him paws, not get his claws.
All right, calm down.
All
right. Next up on the EGI 2007 Game of the Year Awards next award goes to this one's not that interesting. It's Lunar Nights on the Nintendo DS. Next up, promotional image from Vampire Rain hiding behind these screens.
It's interesting that something didn't make the cut that you didn't want to talk about.
You wanted to jump to this one with all the.
And this one is an award.
This
is just what the descriptor says it is, y'all. I just want to point that out. It's just a promotional image from the game Vampire Rain that we talked about.
Promotional image
shed
from
some light on
from Vampire
what does that say?
Rain is hiding behind these screenshot people.
It keeps moving around.
Just hiding behind these.
And
Trivium Wars and the Elder Scrolls.
For Elder Scrolls 4, and I misspelled Elder Scrolls.
Oh wait, I didn't realize you made.
Someone's still on the line.
You're on the air with EGI 2. What do you think? What does it
say?
Going through
What's
your mind
that
right
say?
now about this promotional image from Vampire Rain? You can't quite see it, can you?
Can you read that aloud to us?
Okay. If it goes back on my TV, I can read it out loud.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay, this is a promotional image from Vampire Rain is hiding behind these screenshots for Command & Conquer, Tiberium Wars, and the Elder Scrolls for the Shivering Isles.
So this is an interesting one, Joe, because not only did I misspell the word elder, but I also left out the final word in the title of the game, which is Oblivion. So it would have been Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, Oblivion, Shivering Isles.
TMZ is going to rip you apart
But there's no question, is there, that is a promotional image from Vampire Rain hiding behind those two screenshots.
Vampire Rain's my least favorite type of water.
Caller, who are you?
Who are you? Where are you calling from? And what are your thoughts?
This is Sandwich from Portland.
Sandwich from Portland. Are you seeing what you want to see from the 2007 Game of the Year Awards so far?
So I was going to comment on that. The last game that you were going to show but didn't
Bullet Witch.
was a DS game, and I was just going to say that you hadn't shown any DS games, and this is kind of prime DS.
This is the final blast of DS games. I think that the blast lasts for about two more years, but this is where when the salvo really starts rocking.
So it's not a last gasp.
This is some of the best DS
blast.
games start coming out at this stage in its life cycles, and one of them is absolutely Lunar Nights for the Nintendo DS, which, Joe, is the follow-up to Boktai: The Sun Is in Your Hand and Boktai 2 on the Game Boy Advance.
Caller?
Yeah.
What?
Wait, what? Was I asked a question? I'm sorry.
I'm just saying that, caller, you're right on the head. You hit the nail on the head that we aren't talking about enough about the Nintendo DS in 2007, but unfortunately, when parsing through the slides just now, I realized that I had meant to create a more I didn't put enough thought into the slide, so I just didn't feel like reading it, so I passed it over. But perhaps that was the wrong Sandwich from Portland. Perhaps that was the wrong move.
Sandwich, were you scared that maybe that the DS wasn't getting enough like airtime on this award show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now let's just for Sandwich's sake, let's just go take a look at this game. I mean, this is a party game.
Let's take a look.
This is a fun game.
Best follow-up to. What's that?
Boktai: The Sun Is in Your Hand.
Oh, so that's
not the
real.
second Boktai.
I thought you were just. I thought you were turning it over to me and just saying. I didn't know.
What did you think I was trying to do?
I have no idea. I don't know what. That seems like.
I want to know what you think. I thought what I was doing.
I thought you
and
were
Sandwich,
making
stay
up.
on the line because I want you to be witness to whatever the hell's going to come out of this
I
jack-o'-lantern's
thought you were
mouth
making up a comedically long video game title name.
Why the hell would I do this?
I don't know, because this is
have
so far.
Have I made up a single damn thing on this show?
No,
the only thing I got wrong was that Silent Hunter 4 takes place in the Pacific, not the Atlantic Ocean.
Right.
Sandwich, what are your thoughts?
Was Boktai the game where you had like the little solar panel on your Game Boy?
Well, it wasn't a solar panel; it was a solar sensor. So it was a game that it was the idea behind it was I think it was I can't remember if it was Hideo Kojima or if it was somebody else. Doesn't matter. The main developer, the director behind the game, had the idea that he wanted kids to be playing video games outside more. So he made a game where if you went outside and played it outside and got some sunlight, some vitamin D, then you would also be able to turn on the sun in the game, which allowed you to defeat these vampires more easily by dragging their vampire coffins and bodies out into the sun.
Did that get more people? Did that get more kids outside?
No, it was. I mean, I'm so shocked that they got as far as the franchise made it as far as the DS, which is probably why they called it Lunar Nights and not Boktai 3.
Yeah, I would just play it in a car when people were driving me around.
Yeah, or you could just shine like a pretty bright flashlight on the light sensor. It's a great game. It's an action RPG. It's not an action RPG. It's an action adventure game. I guess there's RPG elements. Everything has RPG elements these days, don't they, Sandwich?
Yeah. I wanted to propose maybe a DS game, a 2007 DS game.
All right.
That's all right.
I mean, the awards are set.
The awards have been perfect.
Sandwich. I just want to point. I don't want you to be disappointed if you suggest this thing and it doesn't end up in the awards show later.
Okay. I was wondering if maybe The World Ends With You could be added to the Video Game Awards. This one should be added for making you look the silliest on a bus game.
Ooh. So you're always playing games in a mode of transportation.
Portable games, yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. That's what they're for.
That's the whole point. Yeah, that's why they make these games so small. You can take them anywhere. You can take them on a bus. That's kind of the main selling point.
Sandwich, I like the suggestion. Like I said before, I can't promise it will win that award or that we even thought of that award to give it to that game. And if that award did exist, that's the one that's the game it would go to. But I think your heart's in the right place.
Thank you.
Do you have any more thoughts, Kat? Because we do have to get back to the TGI2 2007 Game of the Year Awards.
I have a lot more thoughts, but I'm okay now.
All right. Well, see, feel free to call in next time when we may have to go back and do more 2007 Game of the Year awards. Next show. Who knows? Next up, we've got
wow, look at that textured water.
Textured Water, Vanguard, Lunar Nights, promotional image. I mean, what kind of Alan? Looking at that promotional image from Vampire Rain, what kind of game do you think that is?
Let me take a
Would
look.
you guess that it's a Splinter Cell style of game?
No.
Well, who would? Next award goes to a look back at the Sega Genesis 3 model. There it is.
Wow.
That's an award?
There it is.
Oh, this is like when they do the in
exactly. This is like the in memoriam, exactly. So you
Let's
just
look
kind
back
of
at the
stare at
year
it for a
and
little while.
film.
That's the third iteration of the Genesis hardware there.
Just more a segment.
Lovely.
not an
Just
award.
a
More
segment.
in
Just
memoriam.
look at it. I've got Splatterhouse 3 there. That's not like a box with Splatterhouse 3 in it. It's just it's a smaller. It's about a third smaller than the Genesis 2 model. And
did you have
one
of
you
these?
could play. I didn't have a Genesis 3. I had a Genesis 2, and you could play You could play Splatterhouse 3 on it. You could play Subterranea
Looking at it makes me feel good.
Someone
Caller,
you're on the air with the
Caller,
EGI2's 2007 Game of the Year Award.
Who is that?
It's a look back to the third iteration of the Genesis hardware. What do you think?
It looks amazing. I love it. This
It's Joe
Botnick. Hello,
That's it,
everybody.
all right.
Joe.
I just wanted to say how nice it is to have another Joe on the show finally.
Joe.
Yeah.
Which one?
And this Joe Rumrill. It's nice to see him. It's nice to have another Joe. It feels good.
Thank you.
Especially because he's part English. I do feel a certain camaraderie with him.
So am I.
Double Joe.
You didn't say it before though.
I'm an Episcopalian.
And
I
did want
share
to
that
defend-
sentiment with you, Joe Botnick. It's nice. I didn't feel it until
is.
you were on the air, but now it's coursing through my veins.
Joe, what are your thoughts on the Genesis 3 remodel? Was it too much? Did they go too far?
I think it didn't go far enough.
They didn't go far enough.
No, I think they should have kept iterating. I think they were on the right track, but they should have kept iterating, and kind of just. I feel like it should have been more smooth. They kind of didn't smoothen it out enough, and maybe.
Alright.
I was picturing a sort of sphere, like a Genesis sphere.
You want to be able
you-
to roll it around
Or
because
like
that's portable too.
I would
Exactly.
like
You
to
can
see.
roll
You know
around.
what I would like to see? You ever do that thing where you get a big ball of ice cream and you drop it on the counter there, and you just watch the ice cream kind of spread out and flatten at the bottom a little bit?
If you make a console out of that, you don't even need any
I
games.
think that's
for
what
it.
the Italians do that. What do they call that?
I'm not. I don't know if they
Well,
do.
they flatten the ice cream on the bottom. But it's like round on the top and flat on the bottom.
No, I don't think that's I think
Gelato?
it's Italian?
Yeah, gelato. Isn't that
Gelato.
what that is?
That's not. No, that's just ice cream.
Well, I don't know.
Speaking of pointing out
Their
strange
economy's
things
been
that
in free fall
Italians
for a
do,
long time. I wouldn't do anything. They-
Boy.
Hold on. Go ahead, Joe.
I did want to defend Luke. I know everyone's kind of been down on him.
Hot button
this-
issue, Joe.
This stream, everyone's talking about it, but I feel like computers are hard to use, and if you're saving things to desktops, it's easy to kind of click and drag more than you intend to select, and then you accidentally delete that important information. And even though he did make a very tasteless English impersonation, which Allan very kindly defended me
What was
against,
that about?
I think we need to keep in mind that Luke's a stand-up guy and he's done a lot for the show, and I just wanted to kind of be in his corner a bit, if that's okay.
Do you think it speaks to the fact that all these were deleted off the desktop? Do you think if they were to save their files, if they were to burn them to a disk, do you think that it makes a case for physical media, Joe?
Absolutely. I mean, backups are always important, and I am surprised that there wasn't a backup of this crucial data. I don't know whose responsibility that was, but I don't want to point fingers, but it definitely does make a case for physical backups of these things.
I haven't heard a word that either of you have said in the last few minutes, but I want to just point out that I have been thinking a lot about what I just said about the Italian economy being in free fall, and I want to correct myself a little bit, because I do think that some of the reforms that Mario Draghi had put in place in the aftermath of the Euro crisis have actually had some positive effect on. I mean, they are still the fourth largest economy in Europe.
I completely agree. Robbie, do you think that there will be any musical awards in this 2007 Game Awards? Is there going to be any mention of soundtracks
Like
or
score
sound
or
effects?
soundtrack?
Definitely not. No, it's mostly
the DK
it's
rap?
mostly jokes about the title or just
Donkey Konga.
superimposed images.
Pa
for
Rappa? Does Pa
comedic
Rappa
effect.
make an appearance?
Okay.
Calm down, Joe.
I mean,
Joe,
Parappa the Rapper is a good game.
stick your neck out for a few more seconds here because I do think that you're going to really enjoy this next stage of the 2007 EGI2 2007 Game of the Year Awards, which is it's UK Secretary for Leveling Up Housing and Communities, Michael Gove, has just taken his first look at the Sega Genesis 3 model and just said Sega Nomad.
This guy.
That's funny.
He just can't get it right.
I thought it was an awards show.
No,
See,
well,
what's that-
Yeah, I'm kind of confused. What
Now
segment
there's
is
a
this?
bunch of funny business going on.
Well, he's been the whole Leveling Up program that started by Boris Johnson involved a lot of the northern cities. So Michael Gove has been traveling around the UK, trying to implement this. I would say fairly abstract concept of leveling up. What could that mean? I mean, especially after they canceled HS2, Joe Botnick.
I feel like they're gamifying British politics.
Yeah, but so you can imagine the minister walking by, or the secretary. Sorry, I keep calling him a minister. He's no longer the minister, is he? He's a secretary. He's a secretary. What's the difference between a secretary and a minister? He doesn't have a seat in Parliament.
About a tax bracket, I'll tell you that.
I feel like he just has more specific responsibilities. I'm not 100% sure though. I'll
So
have
he's
to get back to
he's
you on
part
that.
of the cabinet.
I'm fairly sure. Yeah.
So
Isn't
is
he?
what
I
is
don't
he?
know.
So the education minister isn't part of the cabinet.
To be honest with you, the finer details of British politics elude me, and you might actually know more than me, Robbie, and that is saying quite a lot about your particular skill set.
Robbie knows more about most things than most people.
And you can take a compliment
Well,
too.
you can imagine Secretary Gove walking by. What's the game store that they got up there?
Funko Land.
Well,
I've
I
been
want to
there.
bring up.
What?
You've been to the United Kingdom.
I've been many
Across
times.
the pond.
What did you think of it, Robbie?
What? What do I think?
What did you think of it?
I think it's a party town. I think it's a great place to lose yourself in the history and the culture and just a lot of great restaurants. A lot of people don't think of the UK as having a lot of great food, but they got a ton of good stuff. I eat better up there than I have in some of the restaurants in Paris.
It's good stuff. I would like to add again.
I even like. Hey,
to the
Joe, you ever been
2007
to
Game
Leon?
Awards. I've not been to Leon.
You've not been to Leon. The restaurant, not the
Is that
town.
What kind of restaurant is it?
It's like a fast casual kind of place. They give you little paper boxes with like a protein bowl in it.
Ooh, that sounds good.
They got one at St. Pancras Station. You got to check it out next time you're in London. All right, Joe.
I
Thank you
absolutely
for
will.
your call. I hope you really.
Thanks, Robbie. Could I add a game to the 2007 Game Awards?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I would like to suggest Earthquake in Zipland, which is a game for children of divorce. So I thought it was kind of right up Robbie's street. I thought he might appreciate that.
Yeah, my parents got divorced.
Recently?
No, when I was like 12.
That sounds. How are you?
How am I holding up?
Yeah, how are you?
Oh man, I mean it's fine now, but at the time it was.
I'm sure that was pretty
Well,
tough
you know,
for
I
you.
was pretty independent at that time, emotionally independent, so it didn't really affect me much. Anyway, I
it's
got
like the
really into
best
drugs for a few years.
Oh.
And Sega.
Maybe you should. Could I suggest Earthquake in Zipland as an alternative?
All right.
to,
Well, I'll take it into. I don't think I know that one. What's it for?
It's a Windows game. It's a therapeutic game for just children going through divorce, and it gives you a lot of challenging scenarios to work through the trauma.
Have you played through this game?
I haven't played it, but it looks very fun.
Now, Joe, are your parents divorced?
That's kind of what I was getting at.
My parents did stay together until my father passed away, but they probably should have divorced. But so I would have used this game had the situation arose. So there you go.
Man, I can't imagine my dad dying. That's tough.
It's minus. Similar Joes we got going here. But
it is what
tough.
it is. Do we, Joe Rumrill? Do you have a similar experience?
Yes, up until you said that my parents should have gotten divorced. I don't think that was the case, but my dad is has passed. Yes.
I'm sorry for your loss. I don't want to bring the mood of the stream down.
There's no video game for that, you know.
There's no well, I'm sure there's got to be a Dead Dad video game.
Oh yeah. Spyro.
Can we get 2007 Spyro? Sorry.
They don't talk about it in it, but that's what he went through before that. That's
Jeez, that's weird. Half the people have dead dads in the chat.
A lot of dead dads in the chat. I feel very surrounded by love and understanding. And I think we should all play Spyro the Dragon.
It would, yeah,
absolutely.
Help you out.
Make sure it's the remastered version with an unlocked frame rate.
I'll make sure of that.
Thank you for your call, Joe. We got just a few more moments here in the EGI2 Game of the Year Awards. So let's get right back into it. Thinking about how much care goes into bringing children up and turning them into adults. And if it's not a parent, if it's not a biological parent, then hopefully somebody cared enough to teach you the ways of the world and keep you out of trouble for as long as humanly possible. Next up on the EGI2 2007 Game of the Year Awards, it's the Game of the Year goes to the Resident Evil 4 Wii Edition.
Whoa!
So
there was
2007
wow,
Game of the Year
a
Award is actually going to a game from 2004, but just that got a slight upgrade for 480p widescreen resolution and motion controls.
Yay! Congratulations to the whole team.
No negative
This is the first
space.
re-release that we've seen in the Game of the Year awards, because
what do I hear?
if I may, I should.
Who's that? Who's talking?
This is Alex from California. If I may, I would like to add another award for
you
like
can
another
try.
re-release.
That's how award shows work.
I think the last
people call in and
People
they
don't
add
go-
categories.
People don't just walk up on stage in the Hollywood theater that they do the Academy Awards and just start handing out awards after the Movie of the Year award is thrown out to those dogs.
Not unless Jada Pinkett Smith's name is in your mouth. The slap.
Jesus, Joe.
That's true.
Caller, what are your thoughts?
Resident Evil 4 Wii Edition is pretty good. That is probably one of the first ways I played the game. I do wish it was less frustrating to play with the regular controllers, because you have to get a Wii remote and then you have to plug in the classic controller or the GameCube controller.
No, you play it with the Wii remote. It's the definitive way to play Resident Evil 4. I mean, am I going crackers out here? Because I think that that's one of the reasons that's the 2007 Game of the Awards, because it's actually the definitive edition of the 2000, what many people believe is the 2004 Game of the Year.
Maybe it's
right. But I don't think.
If you're playing Resident Evil 4 Wii Edition with a classic controller, you might as well go ahead and sign yourself into Rikers and throw away the key.
Or Rikers.
Rikers Rikers for psychos. Because what you're saying is nuts.
Yeah. Well,
I get what he's saying. When you play with the Wii
regular
remote,
is pretty
you can
big.
throw it into.
No, you don't throw a goddamn thing. The worst that you do is this.
All right, I'm just trying to help out our
You're just
caller
pointing
here.
at the screen. Until they allowed in these Resident Evil, in these third-person shooter Resident Evil games for moving and firing at the same time, the definitive way to play Resident Evil 4, where you're stationary firing, is to have a Wii remote and feel like you're right in there with those Spaniards.
But when I've got my real hand there, then that's too much hand. I'm seeing too much hand. That goes into the other category.
Honestly, the game already has enough movement that it's supposed to feel tanky. I don't think the motion controls are kind of add to the experience. Like, I know it's something new.
You think it takes it away? You think it makes the game too easy?
Yeah, but I mean, I guess it's the thing with the Wii. They're trying to make games for everyone. I mean, I guess so. That's valid. But I don't think Resident Evil 4 should have been one of those games affected by the Wii.
You think it should be a more boutique game, not really for all It's not for all.
Well,
it's just for.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it came out of the GameCube first.
We're being rated by piss.
We're rating by piss, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, Alex from California. If you do, if we're talking about boutique games, here's something you might, if for the eagle-eyed people out there that might be rating from piss, is that is in fact not a screenshot from Resident Evil 4 Wii Edition in the background there. That is Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles for the Nintendo Wii. Alan?
Apparently, in the poll in the chat, BioShock, they're saying BioShock does not hold up.
That's
51% for no. No, 51%.
51% says BioShock has not hold up.
That's why you got
Alex from California. What do you say? Am I the only person that's still got their head on right?
People from piss are saying things like piss or PP in the chat. It's kind of making the chat kind of yucky. So please be if you're just
That's not the kind of
piss,
stream we're into here.
Don't say PP piss stuff. Robbie doesn't like it. He gets mad.
Yeah, this isn't a toilet bowl for you to just point yourself at and just go crazy. This is a video game news, reviews, and game award. We're in the middle of the 2000
awards ceremony.
We're at the end of the 2007 Game of the Year awards.
Still respectable.
Alex from California, you still with us?
Yes. If I may, I wanted to add one more shout out.
And you're from California, so you know about the
2007
Raiders.
Sunshine State.
The Raiders? What?
The Oakland Raiders.
Oakland Raiders.
Oh, I don't. I'm not too in touch with sports.
Well, this is quite a
Robbie isn't either. I don't know why Robbie said that.
Let's go back to.
I feel like none of us are.
I want to feel. Let's take a more look at the back of the third Genesis
Look
iteration
at that Genesis
here.
3.
I feel like we've lost the way here. I mean, Alex, you can imagine playing something like BattleTech or Urban Strike or Jungle Strike or Desert Strike on this thing.
Freaky
what do you
Links.
Think? What?
I'd actually. I mean, as long as I could play hard driving or race driving.
You play
that'd be pretty
like
good.
a racing game. There's no racing games up for the 2007.
Joe, are you messing with my slides?
I
I keep
I
going back to
swear
this
not.
thing. I'm going back to the slides. It ends up.
My hands are in
thing.
plain sight.
I personally think they went too far with the Genesis 3 design because, like, now I believe you can't play virtual racing on that, and you also can't play Sega CD and 32X games.
You can't. It's true. You can't attach a Sega CD or a 32X to this thing.
Do you think that there will ever be a console that will allow you to play two games at once? I'm noticing you can just do one game into the Genesis 3.
Yeah.
And this is the third iteration of Sega Genesis.
Here's the thing.
When do they get to the point where you can play multiple games at the same time?
Multiple games at the same time?
You got two hands.
Alex, what are your thoughts?
I believe that already exists.
What is it?
And don't listen to what Joe is saying. Just react.
Wait, huh? Wait, like three axes?
Oh boy. I'm saying you pop one game in, you pop another game in. And
no, wait, the Genesis can do that. That's right. You could put like a Game Genie and a Sonic and Knuckles and then a copy of Sonic 2.
Sure, Game Genie if you want to use cheat codes. I'm an honest man.
Have to. You could launch a game. You can launch a game on a Game Genie without using any cheat codes. If you're just looking for the vertical, if you're looking for the yeah, that's why. How do you think the game gets through there in the first place? It doesn't just stop at the game.
I'm saying you can play both the games at the same time. You guys are thinking in the physical realm. I'm thinking about what's on the screen. I'm saying you pop in Banjo-Kazooie, and then you also pop in GoldenEye, and you're playing both those games at the same time, both with different hands if you're ambidextrous.
That reminds me actually
Sorry,
of,
I have an imagination on this video game show.
I don't think that's
what
they mean.
There's like, I think Hyperkin it's like the retro. I forget what its name, but they could have. Honestly, Hyperkin made these systems a while back to have multiple cartridges. That's a totally missed opportunity for them to, not.
Thank you.
Well,
not do that.
They used to.
Describing,
you see
Joe.
these in old gaming magazines. They used to have things that make that allowed you to plug multiple cartridges into a kind of like a
chain.
Yeah, like a chain, and then you would have like a little switch that went between them.
Nice. But the characters on the different games don't interact.
Oh, is
what
that
are you guys
want?
talking about? What are you talking about? I don't understand
Alan,
any of this.
Alan, what are your thoughts?
Alan, come on.
What is Alex saying? What are you saying?
I don't know. I've seen every episode of EGI from the very beginning. I've seen every episode of EGI 1, which there are many. I've seen every episode of EGI 2. I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. I feel like the show has completely gone off the rails. People are saying piss constantly in the chat. And I just don't understand where we are at this moment in the show. I'm just very, very confused.
All right, well,
I'd love to move on.
We're going to move on. Let's move on to the Allan's special report. We do have a special report from Allan Resnick here tonight. It's a special report.
What is it?
And we were talking about 2007. One of the games that came out in 2007 that didn't reach the Game of the Year awards, but I do think it's worth talking about, is the original Assassin's Creed, Allan.
What special report on what?
On Assassin's Creed, the original Assassin's Creed.
Oh shoot! Give me a second. Okay.
If I may, before I go, best re-release for a 2090s game.
I hear something.
Allan, hold on
Rat
for a second,
Attack,
Alex.
and also Game of the Year should go to Portal. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Alex. And unfortunately,
That's 2 votes for Portal.
2 votes for Portable, but I mean, I can. It's burnt into the history here. It's Resident Evil 4 Wii Edition.
That's true.
That's the
Good point.
2007 Game of the Year awards.
Good
Allan,
point.
let's hear it for your Assassin's Creed special report.
Okay, Assassin's Creed 1?
The first Assassin's Creed game.
Oh, give me a second. Assassin's Creed. How do you spell assassin?
He's just trying to make you spell the first syllable.
Oh,
Don't do it.
Oh no, it's correct. Okay, Assassin's Creed.
Okay, let's hear it.
Assassin's Creed is a historical action-adventure video game series and media franchise published by Ubisoft, right? Is this what you're talking about? This is what I'm talking about? Is this right? It was developed by Ubisoft, mainly by the studio Ubisoft Montreal. That's pretty interesting. Using a game engine called Anvil, and its more advanced derivatives. Do you know what that? Just that. The Assassin's Creed video game series. Oh wait. It depicts fictional millennia-old struggle between the Order of Assassins,
who fight for peace and free will,
who fight and the Knights Templar who desire peace through order and control.
Yeah,
that's what I. So okay, yes, that is what I said. Thank you, Chatter, who has somehow
gotten your
got
report.
My report. Maybe it leaked. Oh shoot.
Oh,
you know what I think? I think when Luke deleted the files, I think my special report must have been on there, and he probably sent it to who said that? To the Chatter.
I think he probably leaked it to Kazaa or something, and people are probably downloading your report.
Some of that first. Oh,
all
this is what you wanted to know about, Robbie.
Yeah.
The first Assassin's Creed game, that's the one the special report is on, was released in 2007, and the series has featured 13 main installments in total. That's a lot. The most recent being Assassin's Creed Mirage, which we're not talking about. We're talking about the original one. The main. Oh, maybe I click on that button. I mean, here we go. Oh wait, no, this is the article I was already on. Shit.
The first Assassin's Creed was released in 2007.
I got it.
The most recent being Assassin's Creed Mirage in 2023. Main games in the Assassin's Creed series are set in an open world and played from a third-person view. Stealth combat, and exploration. Does that sound familiar, Allan?
Seems like you don't even need this guy.
Take a look at. No, I don't recognize. Maybe.
Thanks for your special report, Allan. Really informative there. Let's go on to It's the Arts.
I didn't get to finish my report.
Oh, we know. I think we all know how it ends, Allan.
Yeah.
I have images.
I think it cites.
I have images of it. I do have an image of it.
Oh yeah.
And that's it. And that's Ezio Auditore, Allan.
That is Ezio.
That's Ezio Auditore, huh?
The gameplay focuses.
Ezio Auditore is the main character in Assassin's Creed 2, Allan.
Let me check on that.
Yeah, you're up against the wall, son. I think just let it slide.
Bartender Desmond Miles.
It's over. Yeah, it's not. Good God. All right.
Bartender Desmond Miles was kidnapped by an agent, taken to their headquarters in Rome. Supervision of Dr. Warren Jalek and his assistant Lucy Stillman. Desmond is forced to enter a machine called the Animus, which can translate his answers. That's a very interesting idea for a game. Genetic memories into simulated reality. Yeah, so it's a great game. It is a great game. Back to you, Robbie. What were you doing? Arts?
It's the Arts.
Yay!
First off, on It's the Arts is a beautiful pitch deck. And Joe, you're in show business. You know what a pitch deck is.
I'm in the biz, sure.
So
yeah.
This is a
I've
pitch
whipped
deck
up a couple.
of what possible
for
merch that we
for
could
you
be
guys.
selling on EDI2.
Wow.
To make more money, to goose the numbers,
or juice them,
to goose everything. And this is of course ideas for a shirt, a hat, commemorative photos of Cricket's foot.
Oh, Cricket Harrison.
When Cricket Harrison and Ben O'Brien were on the show, Cricket showed off her feet to goose the numbers, and
oh yeah,
for maybe that worked, and maybe selling photographs of that event might end up having the show become more self-sufficient.
But wouldn't a lot of the money have to go to Cricket? Since it's her feet?
I'm not quite sure how the money
I'm pretty
works.
sure if you're on a show, then that show owns the pictures of your feet.
Oh, so that means you guys own all my witty asides.
Well, we don't own. Well, you haven't shown your feet yet, so keep those below the frame, son.
All right.
Next up on It's the Arts, thank you for Giovanni H for this beautiful pitch deck. We will consider everything that you've done looks amazing.
That is nice.
Unfortunately, full disclosure, we do have a shirt that is going to be. We have 2 shirts.
What?
That are being developed right now that we will be releasing soon.
You developed
turtlenecks?
What do you
We're
mean?
developing a shirt. Well, because you got to come up with the concept, and you got to spitball it a few times, and you got to thrack it.
Robbie, what is this?
Thrack it.
That's.
You have a Patreon?
You should subscribe to it, Allan. Just
All right.
to verify and see
So,
if it's real.
Maybe I will.
We're trying to make the show more self-sufficient, so we're looking at different. Obviously, merch will be part of that. Thank you, Giovanni H, for that fun concept art there for possible Alex.
It was a
and they've
good
got
deck.
trash bags and various iterations of prayer wall.
I hope I make the merch someday.
I wouldn't bet on it. Next up is another one from Giovanni H. This is, of course, pictures of Allan that were rendered in the Gamebryo.
Yay, thank you.
engine.
There I am.
Look at that.
That looks like me. Well, what am I wearing? Some sort of interesting shirt?
Like a tunic.
Oh,
A tunic or perhaps a shawl. I guess that's when it's held together by threads. Is it still a shawl? Do we know
Maybe
this?
I'll start dressing like this.
It's kind of swaddling clothes a little bit.
And there you are, and there you are, Allan. It's
Wow.
wonderful to see you in
I look
the
so good.
Gamebryo engine.
I would love to be inside of a game. I'd love to be inside a game of Robbie. Maybe if Robbie made up a game, I could live inside the virtual world forever. Maybe my real body in the reality would be killed and die, but the virtual Allan could live on in this sort of digital realm, and I could wear tunics and just go on adventures that Robbie designed, side quests, sort of. Maybe he's like, I walk up to Robbie's house, I knock on the door, he comes out, it's a digital Robbie. No, maybe it's the real Robbie, I'm digital, and he goes to me and he says, Allan, I lost my special penny, can you find my special penny? It's somewhere in the woods. So then in my map, there'd be a little penny icon in the woods. I know, okay, I'll go get it. I go collect Robbie's penny. I bring it back to Robbie, and maybe he gives me an award. He picks me up and hugs me or something sort of fun like that. So thank you for your art. It did remind me that idea is interesting.
And I just want to point out that that's an unofficial Patreon account.
What do you mean? So what do you mean unofficial?
What did he just subscribe
Next up on
to?
It's the Arts is
So where's the money go?
Ben O'Brien. This is again from Alex A. And this is another idea for possible merch. Ben O'Brien lake logs in the lake. I guess that's cereal.
I don't like the sound of that.
Logs in like cereal.
An EGI2 brand milk.
Wait,
so,
they make this?
Seen it?
This is a real thing?
Yeah. So that could be a
that's
real
a drawing.
thing.
That's not real.
Could be Ben O'Brien's laying log. Because when Ben O'Brien was on here, Joe, he laid a lot of logs in our. He threw a lot of. Rolled logs into the lake.
Okay.
Because I don't want to say lay because that implies a certain type of.
I think that's.
Yeah. So the ones at the top. The logs are at the top of the lake.
It's a reverse Sisyphus.
The lake is the show.
It's going down.
The lake is the show. And it's clean, and everyone swims in it.
Yeah.
And if you got too many logs in it, then it crowds everybody out.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying,
And
Joe?
that's what Ben O'Brien did.
That would Ben cut down trees and rolled the logs down into the lake, and that's the story.
Can
of the
I
logs.
ask, is EGI brand milk? What makes it different than just regular milk? Do you think? EGI 2. Sorry.
Ben and Cricket are on it.
2%.
That's weird that they would choose to put them on the EGI 2.
Well, it's because they're missing.
No, that's me and
Alex,
Robbie.
Alex,
that's Robbie and Alex.
Obviously, this
on the
is.
milk.
I don't think that.
Look, there's the beard.
What? Ben has a beard.
No, Ben has a mustache.
Oh, Ben has a mustache. Well, who's got a beard?
Me, Robbie.
What?
Robbie, look at me.
I've got a mustache.
Cut to my shot. Do you see this?
No.
I had this the whole time.
Oh, that's that guy from that video game.
No, that's me.
No, what's that?
The guy in the tunic. That's the guy in the tunic.
That's Joe.
No, I'm wearing a shirt. My name is Allan. I've been on the show forever. I've missed the first couple episodes, but I've been on the show pretty much forever. I've always had this beard. I've always had it.
That's the guy from that.
Oh no, you're right.
That special report.
Oh yeah.
Viral video.
Pretty sure that's just your skin, Allan. I'm not. Next up is thank you, Alex A, for that beautiful
Thank you so much. That
for
is
this
so
beautiful
nice. I like the shading.
again another beautiful pitch for possible EGI2 products. Next up
from
from
your merch.
Oh,
look at that. That's really nice. That's me. That's me.
And that's see what I'm talking about. You don't there. That's just
no. Look,
that's
I have
Ben.
a beard. No. That's Robbie and Allan when we went to E3 on EGI 1.
Joe, why don't you take a shot at what is this name?
It's cropped a little, so it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
No, it's all there.
Oh, it is.
Kakexe.
And you must
Or H. Now it's kind of looking like
well,
H-A-H-E.
it's got Kahex, I-X-E.
Kahex.
Or it could be a W from
Could
where
be
I'm thinking.
it's K-A-H-E-I-X-E.
Let's look at that artwork again.
Let's take a look at the art. That's
look at the
That's
little.
great.
There's a little tiny chibi
So
Robbie
there you-
and Allan.
Yes.
That's very cute.
Chibi Robbie, Chibi
A
Allan,
little pointed,
and then us dressed up. That's some of the costumes when we had a real budget. We used to be able to buy
afford these
costumes for
incredible.
every
We used to be sponsored
season
by
of the show.
a real company, a big
happened to the
corporation,
budget?
Warner Media Group, and
Out
they
the
give us
window.
these big budgets. We could buy these wonderful costumes and go to all these big events. We went to E3. We went to Tokyo, Japan with these wonderful budgets.
And those are physical costumes and props, not
Yes,
green
real
screen like
props.
you'd see. No motion capture, anything
That's
like
right.
that.
Those were real. Well,
Those were the
it did
days.
key out.
Practical effects. Am I right?
Joe, thank you for that. And I want to just point out that this comes, this art comes to us from as far away as France. So we've got people that are watching the show from France, from the UK, from Germany.
You're
Sound
worldwide.
off in the chat where in the world
So
you are watching
in
from.
some ways, Joe, based on your
lineage,
exactly, we've pretty much
thank you.
everything.
We're being rated.
Every place
for a
that
party
I'm
of 8
from.
Ham
You've got
Freeze.
watchers.
What
Thank
the hell
you,
is
Ham
a Ham Freeze?
for rating us.
Ham
Your-
Freeze.
Your eight raters, and please don't say yucky words in the chat.
Yeah.
People from our previous raid were
Just
saying.
so you know, the
pay-
Game of the
piss
Year
and pee.
awards.
Maybe keep it
was-
clean.
The Game of the Year award for 2007 was in fact the that one. So thank you for rating and hope and stick by because we still got more art to show you.
Bullet Witch.
So last piece of art came to us from beautiful country of France.
Let's see it.
Beautiful. But the food's not great in France, like that you said.
I mean, it depends on who you ask. I prefer I prefer a lighter fare. Next up is it's the art. It's Nacho Cheese 3.
Wow, thank you, Nacho.
Nacho
What is
Cheese
that?
3, who also goes in the chat, is Puppy Mouth occasionally, but it is Nacho Cheese 3, and Nacho Cheese
and
3
what is
is
the-
watching
what-
is feeling bad and watching EGI 2 and feeling better.
Oh, it's a self-portrait.
It is a self-portrait.
That's
What's
cool.
reflecting off in the eyes there?
What's that's EGI 2.
Oh, you're watching. Oh, okay. Wow, what a beautiful.
Watching the
piece. Thank you so
stream.
much. I like those big
Unbelievable.
eyes with those big EGI 2.
And this was,
good.
and
so
we
nice.
were off for a week, so there was an opportunity for people that were making art for the stream to make more art.
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
Nacho Cheese 3 made this.
What is that? What is that?
That
what the
is-
hell is that? What the hell is that?
What we were talking, I believe that it's a reference to one of the stories that we told in perhaps EGI 2 stream 12.
Oh. Let's see that again. That was quite a terrifying image.
Yeah,
So people's
it sends
heads
shivers down
pop,
my
or maybe
spine.
That is a horrifying sort of vision.
Because the
There.
self-portrait was such a positive
Right.
thing.
And this is the
I think
same
that's why I'm
artist?
so there's
The same
a
artist who
whiplash
drew that
effect.
But this
going
is
on.
why
those sweet eyes drew this horrifying sort of
This monster
With
it, and then somebody's head is blown off by that creature. But art is subjective. That we must all remember that.
But and it's important.
And it's beautiful. That's probably a very good rendering of what.
Absolutely, unbelievably a beautiful piece of art. And another one from
unsettling.
Nacho Cheese 3. I might as well just show it now. It's a
What's that?
drawing of the Nemesis from Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, Resident Evil 3 remake. We've been playing on the stream. We played it last week while we were EGI 2 stream 13 was delayed, but we did play it.
Right.
We've almost beaten it live on the stream now.
Good for you
So
guys.
the Nemesis doesn't even look like that no more. He looks like this crazy.
He doesn't look like that no more.
Robbie, I can't
the
really
problem?
watch those
Just,
streams.
that was funny how you said it.
When you do those streams where you play that terrifying game, it's very hard for me to watch. I love hearing you talk, but when I look at the screen, I see that scary thing. I can't
Yeah.
look. I can't look.
That's how I felt when my dad would play Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
See? And Robbie's like my dad in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Not really.
I'm sort of like when in a way I am like your dad, Alan.
You take
Because
care of
when
me.
You
when
should
you
adopt
assist, when
him.
you help your
You're
dad
bigger
in the
than
way
me.
that you help me, Daddy doesn't pay you.
Daddy doesn't pay me, but Robbie doesn't pay me either. So
Exactly. So in a way, it is like a family arrangement that we have.
Right.
And in the same
Nobody
way
getting
that
paid.
Nemesis is in some ways family to the liquor.
The liquor.
Joe.
The drink, the sauce.
No, liquor is
liquor. He's
the
got this
creature
crazy
whose
tongue.
brain is on the outside with the long
I'm
tongue.
guessing it's the one with the tongue.
Yeah, so that's the liquor, and
Yeah.
Nemesis is the one that doesn't lick.
No, he
I
just
mean,
he
it
just
might lick,
stargazes.
Alan.
Everything with the tongue can lick.
Apparently we're boring Alan.
And what do we say?
I
What
got
do
a
we
cramp
say,
on my
Alan?
jaw
What's
from
the
licking.
thing that we always say? Everything
Everything
boils.
Everything
over.
Everything boils.
Everything boils
bleeds,
over.
Everything boils. Everything bleeds.
And
Everything
can lick.
boils.
And-
Everything bleeds. This is musical.
All right, calm down, Joe. Next up, we've got from Kimball Anderson. It's Allan again with the gushing power of crime.
Stop.
He says stop to crime, and he brings out, and with one hand, the
Don't do
gushing anger of crime fighting exits his body, and with the other hand, he pulls out his pistol, his revolver.
Robbie, why do you think people like using Allan as a subject for their art more so than
because
you?
we've been,
That's just something
like
that I've noticed as just from a casual observer.
Well, I mean,
I think it's
I was in
the
there
beard.
several
I think it's
times
more
too.
fun to draw a beard. It's hard to capture Robbie. Just not.
Robbie's
it's
got a
easy-
headlight.
It's easy.
I think
you'd be easy to draw, Joe, because you have a mustache and a funny hair.
Yeah.
Robbie has
Funny.
There's nothing going on in the face, so it's hard to. It's just two dots and a line, and he's
Yeah.
sharp, so that helps.
Right.
But his hair is kind of interesting, but it doesn't change, so it's hard to nail down what it is. So I think
Gotcha.
it's just harder to draw, and it's just more fun and easy to draw a character.
You spent the
But
money.
also with the
You
beard.
spent the money on the materials,
Yes.
and then so you want to use them. You wanna
But
use
here,
them.
but
I
here's
understand.
but Allan is going through a transformation, Joe, and that's a big part of the show right now. Is that Allan's transformation is taking place as we
He's
speak.
getting jacked.
His hatred of the crime that is ruining this city, of ruining this country, that's
Los
taking
Angeles?
over our streets, that's pouring out of the doors and windows of people's houses, pouring out and in.
Both ways.
Yeah, well, that's
Flown
and
both
it's,
ways.
and it's making him upset. You can see him here. The levels of hatred spiking in his eyes.
Yeah.
The feeling with the blood boiling in his hands and gut.
And
near
that's
to
fun
the
to
point-
draw.
Near to the point when the blood will gush from him. Not blood that we would
It's not my
recognize.
blood. It's usually
not your,
it's usually
human
the
blood.
blood. It is human blood usually, but it's not mine. It's usually blood of a criminal that I've
Right.
stopped, and usually the way that I stop them is such a specific to me way that I do it, that I am killing criminals. So I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm
No
not
harm,
bending
no foul.
any of
No
God's
harm, no
laws or any
foul.
moral weird. I'm not doing anything morally incorrect. I'm mostly just punishing criminals for actions they've decided to commit that were wrong, that I deemed wrong and incorrect. And I will get.
But it's a
blood on them.
violent death. It's a violent, painful death.
It can be painful. It depends how angry I am. If I'm really angry, it's actually less painful, which is kind of interesting. But I will get a mess on me sometimes while I do it, and I will have to wash off.
Vertical
and
mammal in there quoting Johnny the Homicidal Maniac.
What are we talking about?
What year is this?
What are we talking
I
about?
don't know.
We're talking about Allan. Joe, if you can imagine yourself budding with criminality as a young man, coming
Right.
out the streets of where are you from?
Windsor, Connecticut.
Coming out of the rotten streets of Windsor, Connecticut, with crime in your eyes and nothing
in my eyes.
and nothing but assault
Nothing
in your
my heart.
I had an interesting dream last night where I went to a prison, and when I knocked on the door of the prison, knock, and the warden opened up and said, what's going on? And I said, is this a prison? He said, yes, of course. And I said,
They legally have to say that.
who do you hold in the cells? That's what I said in the dream. Who do you hold in the cells? And they said criminals.
You're not gonna
And
like the
they said,
answer.
They said it's all criminals. It's just criminals. Well, wall-to-wall criminals. Every room. It's like a college for criminals, but the dorms are instead of co-eds, they're criminals.
Exactly.
And anyways, the rest of the dream was sort of just this crazy manic, blood-soaked nightmare. I just kind of.
I can't wait to see the painting. I can't wait to see the painting of that.
I cleared the
Get your red
rooms.
crayons
I
ready.
went room by room and I cleared all the spaces of crime, and I did feel like I woke up feeling sort of refreshed because I had made the jail safer.
Allan, I want to pause you for a second there because I can see what's happening to you right now. It's a transformation. It's starting to happen, but you're holding it back because, for dear Lord, you want to protect us from the beast that is in you, Allan. I can see. We were looking at pictures. We were looking at what we were looking at a second ago. We were looking at pictures of the Nemesis from Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, and that is what you could become if you're not careful, Allan. With all the boiling and the skin tearing that is happening because of the gush inside of you that is threatening to come out and cleanse the streets of the wanton criminality, sinfulness, and devilry.
It's a slippery slope.
And where does it stop, Allan? When is it gonna? Where does it stop? Does it stop at the door? Does it stop at the gates of heaven, or does it stop at the gates of hell?
Pick a gate.
What I'd like to do is go town by town, and any town. Maybe I'll look it up online to see. I think most towns have a prison or a jail, and that's sort of the most concentrated amount of crime.
Yeah, maybe you could look that up on Wikipedia.
Like how teens hang out at the mall, you're saying criminals hang out at the jail.
Yes, criminals do hang out. They congregate in jail. So I think I might just look up where they are and go to each jail one by one and clear them out, clean them out, and then I think I would be satisfied, emotional. Like I feel like I had.
Once you get through the entire country or the entire world?
Oh shit. I was gonna just do the country, but I think I'll start with the country and see how I feel.
Joe, have you ever been this close to a dealer of death like this?
You've noticed I haven't looked him in the eye the entire time.
Well, you can barely look me in the eye either.
You haven't
scared to death
because you have that bright light. Oh boy.
You're a comedian?
That's mean.
Next up on It's the Arts is a beautiful drawing of the gush. Again, we're talking as Allan continues his transformation.
The gush.
I normally go
EDI2 special correspondent.
That's what Robbie.
Man on the street.
Robbie calls me the gush when I do my crime fighting.
Gush.
Well, no, the gush is in you. You're not the gush.
Right. Oh yes, my powers he describes as being the gush, but it looks like with the title of this artwork being the gush, it's kind of implying that I have a name.
Well, it morphs right into it.
Hold on
That's
for a second
cool.
there. That's nuts. I mean, that's like looking into the future there.
Yeah.
And it's like
the Tintin movie.
I kind of think of it like this, Allan. It's not like those Charles Bronson movies are called Death Wish because his character is called Death Wish. His character is called Charles Bronson.
And he has a death wish.
And he has a death wish. And like Charles Bronson has a death wish, you have the gush.
Oh, I see. So if they made a story of my life, a movie about me, they'd call the movie The Gush.
Exactly.
But it would be the story of Allan. But I just want to... who's the artist?
How they know about the
Charles
hat?
Bronson.
No,
Hambone Busey.
Hambone Busey. I do love the art, and I appreciate the art, but I will say
Charles
that
Bronson
I don't wear this I don't wear my Kodak hats. I don't wear these hats while I wouldn't call it gushing, but Robbie might. But while I'm doing my actions at night, I don't usually wear my own merch because I don't want to think. There's sort of separate. There's the brand, there's the merch brand that I sell.
You don't
on my
want to
website.
shill.
And I think they're
that's the true evil.
But if you do like the hat, go to my website. There's a store logo that dances around. If you could try to catch that, you'll end up at my store. Use product code LukeMan at checkout, and you'll get $1 off the hat, and I'll give Luke $1. So I'm losing $2. No sales tonight though, so I'll just check my phone to see if anyone bought it. No.
Buy a hat. Buy a hat from them. Why won't you buy a hat from them?
I think you would look quite good in the hat.
Someone was talking about the band Charles Bronson. It made me think of other hardcore bands from that era.
You know what's funny? We haven't talked about it, but you played my house when in college. You were touring with a band, and you opened for them, and that was when I met you. I didn't talk to you, though, because you did a very funny thing where you arrived, and you came to our house, and then the band you were with set up, and you sat on our couch and played video games.
What? Wait.
This is a true story.
What are you talking about? Robbie,
and I was like, I'm gonna bring it up, and I know we're closing in on the.
Whoa.
And you did a very funny bit. It was the first thing it got me thinking about comedy because you opened it, and it was musical, but you were wearing a full blue superhero suit, and there was a screensaver going behind you, and you were yelling at us when preparing
There's the emoji right there.
There he is.
Yes.
The blue leader. Wow.
Blue Leader, that's what it was called.
Wow.
And it was very funny, and it made me think, because I was playing in bands at that point, but I wanted to do
This
if
is
you
crazy.
like,
Well,
I
no
wanted
one
to
will
do
put
funny
me in their
stuff.
bands no more, so I decided to do that instead. And
God.
I didn't get to do as much sound checking, so that's why when I was playing a Game Boy Advance emulator on my laptop at that time,
And
and I can tell you exactly what game I was playing. Metroid Fusion.
It looked like a very intricate game, but I remember thinking that's a funny thing to do, and then you performed, and I was like, wow.
Twice in Connecticut, and that was I've performed 3 times, and that was one of them.
And that was the house I lived in.
That's
Oh my
insane.
God,
bro. I
Robbie!
can't believe
Robbie, you have such Robbie has touched so many lives.
Really, that's kind of throwing me off.
I didn't mean to. That's why I waited so long for you, because I know you
Robbie
were.
has influenced so many around the world. He doesn't even know the impact he's had. But sure enough, he has impacted everyone in the EGI community, and now he's making $66 on Patreon.
It made me think about comedy, and now I'm here at a table with you.
And now we're here, and
letting you roast me.
And I've just been roasting you all night. And how about that? Well, the truth of the matter is that Allan is worthy. Is going to at some point turn into a killer and kill perhaps all of us.
So he hasn't already done this.
I would.
When the gush happens, we're all going to be washed away. Next up, and this is I think this is our final one. It's from Vertical Mammal, Gushing Force.
What's that?
And that looks like obviously that's the Shining Force box.
But who's that child?
That looks. I believe that's supposed to be you, Allan.
No, I have a beard.
No,
but you do have a gun. You have a gun.
He has a gun right there.
That does look like
right.
And I think that's supposed. Is that supposed to be Ness from?
Or is it Ash Ketchum?
Oh, maybe it's Ash. Yeah.
Let me see that again, because I do have a gun there. Yeah. Oh wow! Thank you, Vertical Mammal. That's so sweet.
Would you play that game?
I would. Would I play Gushing Force?
Would you play Gushing Force for
I
the
wouldn't
Genesis?
I wouldn't want to come within 10 inches of that game. And that 10 inches is a goddamn Glock.
10 inches is still pretty close to getting to the game, though.
Well, I mean,
you could still probably read the
you're reading
instructions.
too much into this, Joe. If there's one thing I can tell you about a performer, it's just know when the joke ends.
All right.
Leave the audience wanting more, not less.
See,
I like getting into the nitty gritty, though. Folks, do we like the nitty gritty, or do we want to be left with question marks over our heads?
Let's let Joe host the show for a little while. How about that? Connecticut.
You had a fun time.
I had a fun time. Hatebreed's from Connecticut.
That's who you were opening for.
No, I was opening.
Hatebreed. You're opening for Video Hippos.
I wish I was opening for you.
And everybody was great.
All right.
You didn't like you. You want to roast me. You don't want me to compliment you.
We got any more arts? No, that was it. That's the arts.
And that's
if you
arts.
have any idea for arts, send it to electronicgameinformation@gmail.com. We'd love to show it on the show, talk about it, riff on it. We do riffing here on the show. Allan, you want to take another shot at that Assassin's Creed report?
Does anybody remember Draw Me from Kid Pix?
I'll look.
I remember Drawn to Life.
Would Kid Pix count as a game you would discuss on this show? Kid Pix?
Kid Pix? I don't think
it was a PC game.
You want to know about gameplay?
Art based.
No, so we talked about number crunchers before on the show, but that felt like a stretch.
Died.
Robbie, do you want to know about gameplay, plot, development, release, music, reception, sequels, references, or external links?
For Kid Pix?
No, for Assassin's Creed.
Oh.
I just want to know.
Drawn to Life. They liked the one you said. That makes sense.
Scribblenauts? Did that come out in 2007?
I don't know. We got a special report from Allan about it, I think.
Well, normally we wrap up the show in a different way, but we are. I'm quite thrown off by the fact that I met Joe like.
I don't know that we've met. Oh, we probably met because
it was a small house.
It was a small house, yeah.
Good Lord.
But that was so. But isn't that fun though?
Really
Robbie,
I'd be remiss to not bring it up.
Allan, you don't have a basement. I can't perform in your basement.
Maybe I'll start digging one, and you can come over and I could watch you play a game.
But Allan, maybe you were in Baltimore. Maybe you were in Baltimore when we could have crossed paths in Baltimore. Who knows?
I can't remember.
All right. Well, that's the show. That's EGI Choose Stream 13. It started with a bang, ended with just an honest reminiscence of younger men pausing for long periods of time and trying to think about it. Let's take one last call before we head out for the evening. Someone's been on the line for 26 minutes, so that's an EGI2 record. Caller, what are your thoughts?
I didn't want to interrupt the arts.
Maybe we can come up with like a sound to know when a call has happened.
I mean, yeah. Please tell us what you want.
Or maybe like a ring sound.
I mean, you caller, if you ever want to jump in, just start yapping.
All right, this is Crabmaster Zach. I just wanted to say that the Simpsons game is. I think it should win funniest game of the year. The DS version would definitely be the funniest DS game of the year. But a lot of good memories playing the Simpsons game.
What made it fun? Were they making
really funny.
specific references to the show, or is it like they wrote a whole episode?
What was it? The Simpsons movie game?
The Simpsons game.
The Simpsons
It's
movie
just
game
called the
probably
Simpsons
wasn't
game.
funny.
That's the one where there's like a dad in it who's like so weird, and the kid's kind of like bad.
Yeah.
But the mom is really, there's oh yeah I've seen that game. It's really funny. There's like a mom character who's kind of sweet but a little like she's kind
And there's like a dog that can talk, and there's a baby that talks too.
No,
but
the
only
baby doesn't
dog
talk.
can
The
hear
baby has a pacifier, but
And
doesn't.
Bender's in the mix somewhere,
No.
right? You gotta get Bender in the mix.
No, this is just the one where the dad is like kind of dumb and he acts funny, right? Am I wrong, Crap Master?
He's a goofball, and there's a lot of characters in the game. They made a whole episode. It's kind of like a playable episode, but it's an open world game a bit. You can run around Springfield and
what state?
Find little Easter eggs and collect
so it's a
things.
holiday game. It's a holiday
Are you talking
game.
about Simpsons Hit and Run?
No, this is the Simpsons game for the Xbox 360. But they also had a mobile version for the DS and maybe.
They've made 360
PSP.
Xboxes.
Yeah, Portal I think is funnier. Sorry.
So there's a level where you go to Homer's dream and you get to eat a bunch of chocolate.
Sounds great, Crapmaster Zach.
Do you like when a game is funny?
Do I like when a game is funny?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Because the games that you seem to play seem to be the humor doesn't factor into them at all.
Crapmaster Zach, what were your thoughts on whether or not the game that Allan was supposed to be doing a
Assassin's
special
Creed.
report upon?
I did it.
Assassin's Creed.
Do you think? What did you think?
I love Assassin's Creed. Yeah, that was a game. That was a game I got in a foundational years of my youth, and
when you
as a kid, I liked all the games, but the first one I remember. There's a lot of cheat codes I would get in that game, and find like there were crazy Easter eggs. I remember there was like a bunch of YouTube videos I'd watch on the lore, but that's a good game.
Absolutely.
Allan did a good report on it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Crapmaster Zach, how are you feeling? What's your emotional state?
I don't know. I'm feeling confused in life, you know.
Why so?
But you know, life is moving on. It's good.
So you need a laugh.
Yeah.
So you're looking for laughter.
You
You're
need a
looking for
laugh.
levity. You're not looking. There's no gush that's happening with you.
No, sir.
Crapmaster Zach, leave us with some final thoughts.
2007 was a good year for games, and I think it was a fun time for everyone who had a Xbox or a PlayStation or any video game system, and they were getting new games that year. They were going to have a good time because there's a lot of good stuff. Back to you, Robbie. Back to you, Allan. Back to you, Joe. Thanks for the call.
Back to you, Crabmaster Zach. And truer words were never spoken. That was our show. That's EGI2 Stream 13. I hope you guys had some fun. We will be doing I'll try to be finishing up Resident Evil 3 sometime this week. I can't promise you when that is because I have to babysit on Tuesday night, and then on Wednesday we'll be doing a kind of a newer version of the EGI2 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews show that's going to be a bit more caller focused. And that's going to be, we'll be announcing the time. That's going to be also at a slightly earlier time, so I can go to the pool after.
Pool?
Yeah, the pools are open. So the Glassell Park community pool, the public pools. Some of the public pools in the city are already open. You can take the bus there, so you can take public transit to a public pool.
Can you edit out where he says where he's going?
Just like God intended.
The pool.
So I'm gonna go to the pool. So I'm gonna be sending that, making sure that the show ends at an earlier time, so I can do that. Because I've been trying to work on my core because I got all these lower back pains.
Oh no, you hitting the high dive?
No, it's not one of those guys. It's like lap swimming, trying to keep your butt up.
That's good exercise. It works the whole body.
It works the whole body. It does.
That's why Mr. Rogers did it.
143, right, Alan?
143.
What the hell are we talking about?
143.
143. I love you.
I
Alan.
love you.
Yeah,
Good night.
Weird ending.